Hello, I'm pickaxes, and welcome back to a live stream on the internet. Today I'm going to be doing some serious amount of mining because I want to get a lot of Nether Quartz. There's two reasons behind this. One of the reasons is because I want to get a fair amount of enchanting done. Now we know that in 1.14 you'll be able to unenchant, as you would have known if you watched my latest video. It's kind of an exciting time because it means that it's basically worthwhile to just keep on enchanting pickaxes. I need these anyway. I need to get as many as I can with unbreaking and ideally efficiency on them. So all I have to do is just keep on enchanting pickaxe after pickaxe, and then see what we get. In this case, we get silk touch and, unbreaking efficiency. And just like that, we've got another pickaxe for the pile. And yeah, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be mining Nether Quartz for 85 minutes. In case you're wondering, by the way, like, Toycat, are you really just mining Nether Quartz? Like, nothing else for 85 minutes? You know what my response would be? Never. There we go. That's peak stream. It's all going downhill from here, and it was pretty downhill already. But yeah, hello, I'm pickaxes. Welcome back to the live stream. I'm looking forward to spending some time chilling, talking about the real things. And by the way, one icon. I agree that the icon in the thumbnail is like the weirdest thing to me, like the Thanos cat thing. I've just accepted, that's just a way you can represent a cat. I think at some point I passed the threshold where I was like, rather than caring about everything precisely, you just got to accept that, sometimes the internet makes what the internet makes, and if the internet makes you into Thanos, I guess that's just who you gotta be for some thumbnails. You gotta. I think actually it's kind of like a funny thing. It's like one of the best. Oh gosh, okay, we're on fire. That's not ideal. Yeah, we're gonna be just running around the Nether, mining all the Nether Quartz we can. Nether Quartz is such a valuable block. Not just because of the fact that, you get it and it's Nether Quartz, it's handy, but it, again, because it gives you XP, because it has so much workability. You can make stairs, you can make pillars, you can make anything look super, super white. It's basically the white, block for every single given block. It's an amazingly versatile block. And yeah, we have a pretty much dead Elytra. It's going to die during the stream. So I'm really going to try not to use it, by the way, in case you're curious. Ooh, for anything more than a few seconds, right now I won't do it. So, bankruptcy is imminent, says Blake101. Thank you very much for the super chat. By the way, hello everyone, welcome to the live stream. Hope you're having a great Thursday. I'm excited because I like to use these as like podcasty sessions. Like, let's talk about the real issues. And honestly, I don't know why, but I've been obsessed with the Titanic recently. So thank you, Blake101. He is sticking true to that promise. I'll be honest, I didn't believe him. I didn't trust him. But this is what sticking to your word it's called. There's no reason to believe anyone on the internet until they do something to prove you wrong. And Blake101 has made me reconsider my, I guess, previous thoughts on this one. So yeah, basically, one of the... Don't fall into lava. Thank you for the tip. Basically, I've been really fascinated by the Titanic recently, and there's no good reason to, be interested in the Titanic in 2018. I feel like the time that this was a cool, or at least relevant thing, when that James Cameron movie came out, or at the very least, oh, yeah, there's lava down there directly. Maybe... Okay, let's just fly across. Hope we don't break this. And, yeah, let's get this Nether Quartz too. Because Nether Quartz is kind of a tricky one to mine, but, yeah, again, we're going to go through the effort today. I think it's worth it, personally. So, yeah, basically, I've been fascinated by the Titanic for no particularly good reason. I've just been kind of diving. Also, yeah, how about we just spend a few seconds, deal with the stuff like, oh, by the way, thank you, Football Player, for the $2 super chat. You're my favorite YouTuber, bro. Thank you very much. And yeah, we are going to be basically just waiting till I eventually fall into lava. It's an inevitability. It's a sad inevitability, but inevitability nonetheless. It's just one I've accepted as being sadly true. But yeah, so, also, quality content, says Softball. Thank you very much for the super chat. I agree, this is the highest quality content YouTube's ever seen. I think it's fun to do, mining live streams, because it gives a good opportunity to, talk about whatever's up. Like I was saying, I've been, I don't know why, but I saw this video. It's called Titanic, but in real time. Oh, let's hope you get to 1 mil, XZ No Limits. Thank you very much, Mr. XZ No Limits, for the £2 super chat donation. I'm not sure which one it was, but one of those two things. A way of sending money to a streamer that you enjoy, I hope. That's what that was right there. So now we're going to run this way a little bit and find some more. But there's this video on YouTube. I really don't recommend it, and also, it's a terrible video, but it's a interesting video, I guess. Hey, I like all the ones I upload. Wait, is that a compliment to myself? But basically, it's called the Titanic, but in real time. Someone took the entire transcripts and what we know about the Titanic and animated the ship sinking in real time for 2.5 hours. So you can see, what it looks like to see a ship sink. Because, I don't know, I feel like when they teach the Titanic in school, they just kind of teach, so, You know, this was a time, bunch of people died. Wasn't a good thing. Ha ha ha, those idiots without their life vests. And you kind of just assume, like, oh yeah, so what happens is water gets in a ship, and then a few minutes later, it goes below ground. But it took 2.5 hours for the Titanic to sink, and I don't know why, but that, like, blew my mind beyond comprehension. And, you know how you see in, like, movies and stuff, like, a ship snaps, and you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. Also, big thank you, XX No Limits, ZZ, for the £5 super chat, just for fun, I guess. I mean, that's the best reason to do anything, except, I mean, there's a lot of things you shouldn't do for fun. But assuming it's not something which you shouldn't do for fun, that's the best reason to do anything. See, look at me, I'm covering my legal bases. Don't be committing any murders on my behest. But yeah, thank you very much for the super chats, do appreciate it. But please repair Elytra, this is making me anxious, says Lizzie the Rat. Look, I mean, I've got plenty of durability left in this. It'll last me forever. Like, how will this die? It won't die is the answer. Big thank you, Pro Gamer YT, for the $2 super chat. Do appreciate the super chat there too. They've got the Minecraft picture, the creeper face thing, the kind of semi-generic one. I have a hat off your profile picture actually, Mr. Pro Gamer YT. I would totally wear it if, I mean, there's just not many situations where you need to wear a creeper hat. I mean, it's really that's society's problem, not mine, but it's a thing. In the UK school, do you talk about the Revolutionary War since England lost? I've always been curious. So here's the thing. It's taught like crazy in America, and it comes up in American shows and stuff. But it's not really taught as a thing here. It's like, oh yeah, that was America. At one point, it was a colony, and now it's independent. Well, they don't say, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Whoever guessed that I would die in lava. Good guess. Good guess. Ooh, yeah, that was bad planning on my behalf. Looks like I'm gonna kill someone, says XX. Oh no, okay, look at me. I've now made a legal liability for myself. But no, thank you for the super chat. And please don't kill someone. I mean, you know, honestly, if they deserve, you know, this is terrible, terrible territory to be in. But I mean, like, you know, some people, maybe, you know, the whole thing. But yeah, so they don't teach the Revolutionary War in the UK, actually. It's interesting. They just kind of say, like, oh yeah, so that was a thing. And then you learn, like, oh yeah, so Canada and etc. were parts of the UK for much longer. Like in World War I even, Canada was a part of the UK, but like kind of with its own autonomy, etc. And yeah, I don't know, it's like to Americans it's like the proudest thing that like, yeah, we overthrew the British. And to us it's like, you know, we gave independence to all our colonies like like 50 to 100 years later, and they didn't even fight wars for it. So I mean, someone killed a lot of people for the idea of independence. But no, yeah, it's like looking back on it as like a, you know, like an adult, it's more like, you know, the fact that the US went independent probably signaled a lot of changes in the British Empire, probably made it a more, I would say it's one of the things that made America such a powerful country was being independent. If America was part of the UK, it wouldn't have managed to take over the whole continent, which, you know, fun fact, thing America did, just kind of took that whole continent, like, well, I mean, it's basically ours, so we'll just make it fully ours. You know, the Louisiana, all the things that happened in America that were just like, well, we'll give it to this country, wouldn't have happened if it was part of the British, because, you know, European powers like to fight each other a lot. And, you know, it would have gone worse for both countries, I think, had we stayed together. It's like a divorce where you realize that, you know, we've done nothing but fight, and you've literally threatened to kill me like 5 times now. You know, honestly, we promised we'd stay together forever, but you know, if you want to go your own separate way, that's that. So what I'm saying is that America or the British, I'm not sure, one of us is like an abusive wife, and one of us just has to say, look, we're gonna, or abusive husband. You know, it's an abusive relationship. You don't need to put gender roles and things. It's 2018, am I right? So yeah, I think that's the reflection I would say in the end. But yeah, they don't teach it in school because it's not really a relevant part of our history. It's like, oh yeah, we had that thing, and then it turned into a country. In the same way that like in Italian schools, they don't teach that like, oh yeah, that was the Roman Empire, which controlled the UK at one point, and then it went away. Or in Germany, they don't teach like, oh yeah, the Saxons are actually British people that went to Germany. It's like, you know, at some point, a new identity is created. And then it kind of moves on. Abusive wife, oh wow. I mean, it's better than an abusive husband. Oh, you know, whatever. Also, the bucket of milk's in my inventory because of the Elder Guardian. And if I get withered or something, I can save my life. It's a handy thing to have. Pro tips of Toycat. Fun facts. So Toycat, what do you think about Nintendo lifting their bans on streaming games? This is the best thing in my opinion. Like the fact that Nintendo have finally. So if you're not involved in the YouTube scene, you might not know this, but YouTube had this system forever now, forever, that was like, hey, so if you stream our games on YouTube, we're just gonna take the money. And then they announced like a while back, like 4 years ago, we've got this really great new generous system where if you stream Nintendo games on YouTube, what we're gonna do is we're gonna give you some of that money that we take back, up to 60% even. And everyone's like, are you joking, Nintendo? You're gonna give us some of the money back that you're taking? And they're like, yeah, it's a really good deal. I'm so excited to talk about it. And yeah, long story short, now they've finally decided, like, sure, you can stream our games. We won't take any of the money. Also, yeah, the reason we go in and out of the Nether, so I come, is to enchant our stuff. But you're right, this is basically clickbait. But I mean, it was it was basically that to begin with, so it's basically that now. So, what do you use quartz for? You can use quartz for lots of things, but I don't actually have a use for it yet. It's one of those resources I figure, let's gather a bunch of it now, and then come up with a use for. Like, I think that's a fun way to do it. You can disagree. That's fine if you do. I wish you'd actually organize all your random filled chests into a real storage room. It triggers me that it's unorganized. The problem with a storage room is, like, going back and forth to it would be a bit of a trek. I kind of just have 2 sets of storage rooms. But no, you're right, I should have, like, a dedicated... I should, but I don't. You know, maybe that's a good project idea for one day. Like, we'll just make a mega chest house. It's one of the things I always advocate is, like, hey, that'd be fun, you should do that, and then I sometimes think about doing it and then never do it. It's always a good system, it is. So yeah, every time we get to level 30, we're going to keep going back to the overworld. Honestly, it might be worth setting up an enchantment table in the Nether, because look how fast we're getting to 30. Or maybe we could just keep going until we get to like 33 or something, and do 2 at the same time. Yeah, sure, do that. So, Kat, do you know that anyone donates to you? Froze YouTube gets about 5% of it. I mean, I'd be pretty absurd to not know that, right? Like, it'd be like if I didn't know that, hey, Toycat, did you know that YouTubers can make money? And I'd be like, really? But no, so the YouTube thing, in case you're making the parallel to like Nintendo. So when YouTube takes 30%, which I think is too much by the way, but every platform holder takes 30% because they're physically providing the bandwidth, the infrastructure, I'm on their platform, using their service, which costs them a real amount of money. YouTube takes 45% of ad revenue and 30% super chats. Sure, I guess, that's... Ideally it would be less, but YouTube makes a loss even at that level, so it's like, okay then, that's fine. I guess if that's how things be, that's how things be. Like, I effectively pay YouTube a lot of money every month to keep going, but it's kind of like to some degree, depending on how high or low your taxes are, that like taxes are kind of an involuntary thing, but also you get something in return. If you try to, next time you call the police or next time you call the fire brigade. Actually, in my case, the police have been a very bad thing in every time I've ever called them. But, if it's kind of like that, but on YouTube. Whereas Nintendo was saying, hey, we sold a product, and then we tangentially probably own the rights to take money from it later down the line. Yeah, probably. That has to be true. Let's go for it anyway. And it's like, hey, there's a difference there. I think the key difference is that, there's no cost to Nintendo, and people are promoting Nintendo, in fact. It'd be like, I can't even think of a good comparison, but that's why it's okay that I pay YouTube, how much it is every month, every year even, to upkeep their services, but paying Nintendo just to play their games is like, well, no, I mean, YouTube is one of the biggest reasons I bought games. I believe this to say that, like, YouTube is one of the best sources of promotion for a game. Think about one of the big reasons Minecraft's still alive. Like, it is an infinite game and it has huge longevity outside of YouTube, I'm sure. but it's also the biggest YouTube game still, and it's also about to be the best-selling game of all time. You know, like, YouTube makes a difference, in my opinion. A lot of Nintendo consoles and games doing badly. Funnily enough, not available on YouTube. So yeah, in my opinion, it was them putting like principle above practice. Or I honestly, what I just think it was like someone said, hey, people making things from our games, and you know, we can take the money. It's legally ours. And they're like, sure, why not? Like, how much does it add up to a year? I don't know, like 100,000. That's free money that was otherwise being stolen from us. I know, like, I feel like in 2018, like, the way copyright laws are working is going in a negative way. That's something everyone agrees on. It's just exactly what the solution is what people disagree about. So, it's okay. I would like to be paying Nike for recommending their shoes on YouTube, says Kirito Kadoshi. Yeah, exactly. There we go. That's a really good example. It would be like if, you know, you review Nike shoes and they're like, hey, that's our shoes in the video that you're featuring prominently. How about you give us 40% of the money? It's like, no, like, I'm promoting your thing because I really like it. You know, and the worst bit is that you're taking fans of your product, Nintendo hardcore fans that are so hardcore they're making YouTube videos about it. They love their game so much. Like Pokemon channels had their earnings just, you know, more than decimated. Like 30% of the revenue was just taken overnight. And it's like, now I'm paying Nintendo to promote their stuff and tell people how much I love it. And yeah, there you go. Nintendo, I'm glad they fixed things. Nintendo's always a bit late though to fix this stuff. Because I remember when the ban was in effect, or when they took revenue, I have this big stance of no Nintendo games. I sometimes would stream it, but there's no videos that get played on the channel. And the reason for that, the reason is because I think you should boycott companies that do something like that. I think, especially when it's something as abusive as copyright abuse, because, you know, that's something that can ruin livelihoods when it's done wrong. You know, I think boycotting, a lot of things people do a bit wrong, but, you know, if a company is ruining, you know, people's livelihoods, then yeah, I'm going to boycott that. You know, if I can promote any game I want on my YouTube, how about I pick one that isn't abusing their copyright position? So yeah, the thing is though, I boycotted it for so long, and a lot of people were like, "Toy Cat, that's so silly," you know, like, some people said like, "Wow, you care about money that much or whatever," and it's like, it's principle too, you know, like, you should have things you care about. It's usually a good idea, at least in my opinion. So, Toy Cat, can we beat Minecraft without opening your inventory? Hotbar only. You definitely could. It would. So so actually, let's talk about this, because I'm doing a challenge right now. It's absurdly, like, it's killing my soul, but I'm trying to beat Minecraft without damage. So there are two types of Minecraft challenge. There's technically difficult ones, and then there's, like, skill-wise difficult ones. And, the ones I try to focus on in the series are ones that are, you're not even sure if it's possible. Whereas you can beat Minecraft without taking any damage. It just involves not taking any damage for a very, very long time, you know, which is hard, as it turns out. Also, let's put away the quartz. By the way, I basically have a chest room. Again, it's very basic. Also, yeah, I really did blow up the cave, in case you don't think that's real. You can see I did. All to make a petty point in a video, but it was worthwhile in my opinion. So we're gonna go put a bunch of Nether Quartz in here. Oh, sorry, Netherrack, and then turn all our quartz into this, and throw it over here. Look at this. So yeah, we're going to have a bunch of quartz. I want to have a never-ending stream of quartz, and I don't even know what to do with it, but I know I want it. Without damage seems very, very impossible. Yeah, it's killing my soul. To put it lightly, it's killing my soul. Hi, haven't watched you in a while. Why do you have so many quartz? Because I want to do something with them later, and I want the XP now. You know, it's like a 2-for-1 thing. But yeah, so there's a lot of challenges that are. I want to prove that they are possible. And every now and then, like the no damage or no eating challenge, it's like, we know this can be possible, it's just going to be a pain. And I still want to do them, it's just a different type of challenge, you know? That's my take on things. Maybe it differs from yours. Let me know in a YouTube comment, why not? What about beating Minecraft, but you can only kill mobs via redstone? Again, that's basically trying to beat Minecraft without using redstone. Oh no, because you have to kill Enderman, in which case it's try to find a good seed in Minecraft. You know, like, I personally want it to... Oh, I didn't go... Actually... Oh, we need to get back out. And we need to go properly... I need to enchant and use up my XP. So, no eating sounds impossible, says River Beast. Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. So the goal of the series is like something that sounds impossible. Can it be done? Oh, it can be done. Obviously, you know, they're long. Like, it takes hours to theory craft them. It takes hours for each attempt. You know, the ones that go badly, they just get wiped out entirely. And then eventually, oh, we went through the wrong portal again. I'm just bad at doing this apparently. But yeah, basically, that's the idea of the series, and that's why I want to do a mixture of like physically challenging, because physically challenging is just painful, and then I know someone's going to accuse me of faking, no matter how much proof I provide. But it's something I want to do next, and then we'll go back to it. So if you want to give ideas for that, it has to be like, can you beat Minecraft while only sat in a boat or something? I think the answer is no to that, right? Actually, is it? See, you know, those questions are the ones I like to ask. And then also, ideally, I'll be honest with you here. Most YouTubers don't admit this, but ideally it should make for a nice title too, you know? Like, oh yeah, can you beat Minecraft without, you know, like, whatever sounds appealing. You know, without jumping was a fun one, because, again, it was just a challenge more than a... Again, these are the questions we're going to be answering. So, we're running out of this blue stuff, but that's fine. So, Silk Touch. Do we get anything more, or just Silk Touch? Oh, okay, we got a good one. And then Fortune, just Fortune. What a bad pickaxe. So yeah, what we have to do now is get some more lapis. I believe I have some in a chest. If I do not, I have to go find some. But in the meantime, I'm going to mine some more quartz. Because I brought my big stacks. Because this is the time I need XP most. We're going to just use an entire stack of this and then mine down. It's going to be satisfying. So yeah, at one point I mined this using Silk Touch. Just because one of my favorite things to do in Minecraft is to stack down dirt. You're not mining Nether Quartz. Now I am. There you go. Checkmate. Hannah Viva says, awesome. Dabcat, you're liking the new emojis? I'm liking the new emojis. So, yeah, to go back to what we were saying, though, besides all of that stuff. Yeah, so, yeah, the new format to justify spending 12 hours on something, I want it to be, like, super enticing and appealing. Because, you know, it'd be nice if the YouTube channel didn't die and I didn't have to do other things as a main thing. That would be ideal, in my opinion. But yeah, so this is the plan, by the way. I'm going to use a little bit of Nether Quartz, just because I have some of the blocks anyway. So we might as well use them, get some XP going. It's a pretty... Like, I mean, look at this. I used Silk Touch because it was just all I had at the time. And now we got enough to go do a real thing. And then we'll just use a few more, I guess. Probably 35, I'm going to guess, is the perfect number. And we'll be golden. So, beating Minecraft without using hands. What is your favorite Minecraft feature? That's a good question that I don't have an answer to. Yeah, I'm gonna guess this is gonna be perfect. Oh, we're gonna be right. Also, yeah, I'm super hyped for Minecraft Dungeons, but I think they said 2019. I don't think there's any pressure on them to release it. So, we'll see. It's like that thing, like, you know how, like, most of a game studio's work is done during crunch time? But, like, if you're a studio about crunch time, that means that everything's just a bit slower than you'd otherwise expect. So I'm going to put this Nether Quartz in here, because it's like XP-based stuff. And then we're going to go get some lapis and enchant some more pickaxes, I guess. Let's do that. Because yeah, I'm starting to get a few too many pickaxes, I think. I need to start dealing with that. So Kat, what would you pick? Forget everything, or everyone and all computers forget you? I'd rather forget everything. It's really easy to learn on the internet. Like I said, I just started learning about the Titanic, and I learned more in like half an hour yesterday than I knew the entirety of my life before that. Here's a key thing. I realized this recently too. So I've got a bunch of lapis blocks, I want to say. I will just take the stack, whatever. But yeah, so here's the thing you don't realize. When you learn things as a kid, you learn the 7-year-old version of it from someone who's not qualified to teach it. I want to say this might be offensive, but primary school teachers are qualified to teach, but not to teach 15 subjects. Because of course, who is? You know, they're there to like help you develop, not to help you learn things. The learning things is a part of your development. So when you realize things is now like, oh, my teacher was wildly wrong. But what I'm saying is in half an hour, I unlearned all the... Like, I would say, getting rid of all your knowledge and starting from scratch, assuming there's, like, a mental hard drive space, which let's assume there is, because why not? That would be probably a really good thing. It'd be like, oh, yeah, look, I can actually understand things that I want to now. So we got an efficiency 4 pickaxe right here. By the way, we're going to take all these pickaxes and put them somewhere, but like later, once we've worked out the best ones. For now, let's just keep throwing them in there and keep on going. Watch out, Toy Cat, there's a potato in your kitchen. So I left a potato in my cupboard for maybe 3 weeks, and I've never been so scared of something in my life. Like, you know how fear makes no sense. I'm scared of spiders. Ridiculous. Like, I can't, that's such a wrong thing to be scared of. And in a similar way to that, these quote fans. I can't quote fans on them. But yeah, in a similar way to that, like being scared of spiders, being scared of heights. Why be scared of heights? Like, be scared of falling, maybe. That's fine. I'm scared of water. Like, you know how in some games you die when you fall in water? That's me in real life because I can't swim. There's a lot of rational fears, I would say. But spiders, arachnophobia, pretty irrational. Fear of any bugs, pretty irrational. One of the fears I have, apparently, are the little things that come out of potatoes. Like little mushrooms grow on the inside of it. And it triggers that response in my brain that's like, get away from here. You're going to die. And I was like, what? This is a potato. It's just gone a bit bad. And my brain's like, get out of there. Maybe it's better just to not return to this house. And it's like, man, my brain has some problems, it seems. I mean, it's kind of cool, like, everyone's brain has defects, but you don't know your brain has defects because the way you observe your brain having defects is via your brain, which has the defects. But every now and then, if you, like, think about it objectively, you're like, yeah, actually, that thing I do is pretty weird. It's like, one of the things I never do in public is, my phone. I just, like, if I can see someone can see my phone, I get usually a bit scared. Like, at least I used to. I'd be like, oh man, I bet they're reading about my personal stuff. And actually, this is because, like, a part of me is like, sometimes I read other people's phone screens when I don't have my own, because I'm just a bad person like that. But, like, no one cares about other people's phone screens. And if they do, it's a stranger, Like, it's not a spy sent to, like, steal the Toy Cat YouTube channel details so they can fund Russian propaganda project. No, it's just a guy on the tube who's, looking at your phone screen because he has no phone of his own. And, I think we just need to have a communal system of, like, hey, everyone's allowed to look at each other's phones. It's just a thing we do. But, I'm like, man, this guy could be trying to steal everything I know. Like, in my whole life, I'm either way too paranoid or way too chilled about everything. And I don't know if that's a good thing. I left old potatoes in the closet and brown smelly liquid came out of them. Right, like, what is with potatoes? Why do they not just go, bad? Why don't they just get, like, I left a banana out too long, went brown. You leave a pepper out too long, I left a green pepper out, went yellow. You know what happens when we leave out a potato? It grows fungus, it starts smelling, it starts, like, verbally assaulting. I mean, maybe that's like schizophrenia, but like, it's not good. Potatoes, it's like, have you ever seen cats being scared of cucumbers? I feel like that when I'm scared of potatoes. If you haven't ever seen cats being scared of cucumbers, then boy have I just told you about a great thing that exists on the internet. Toy Cat, where are you going for your next McDonald's review? I believe it's Malta. So because it's December. December's the busiest time of the year. Usually because there's a holiday update. I don't think there is. Oh no, there is. There's literally an update called the holiday update this year. See, that's how your brain's broken. You can't recall information on the spot. But yeah, so there's one update coming out this year, the holiday update. I'm gonna be going for one last thing, and then I'm back in the UK until early next year. So yeah, I'm going to Malta. I'm excited, actually. So I don't like to talk countries too much on this channel. Oh, wait, actually, can I... So, live streams are a great opportunity to do this. Let me respond to a Q&A Saturday, because I don't want to do this in another Q&A, or I'll get the same comments. Americans are usually, like... It's fine that Americans don't know that much about the world. Like, it's, to America, America is the world, and that's fine, because you're such a powerful country in a lot of different ways. One of the things that confuses me is Americans lack... Okay, so we're going to be really careful here. Come on, don't break on me, don't break on me. Okay, we're alive. Okay, this Elytra is going to break any second now. But, Americans' confused understanding of America itself blew my mind. There were several people, like, this wasn't one guy, this was several people who insisted that the reason that people don't like California is because they have gulags there. And like, you know, maybe it's a meme on the internet or something that I've just missed. But it's like, oh yeah, don't go there. You know, they're coming with their gulags and stuff. And it's like, how is that a thing? I'm confused. I'm so confused. So yeah, fun fact. Don't read the comments of Saturday. When you mention one state, so it's California and Texas, the two biggest states. Everyone has a positive or a negative opinion about one of those states. Like somehow, you know, your political opinion turns into facts about gulags or whatever. I just don't get it. It blew my mind. I was like, wow. You know, I thought I understood anything, but clearly I don't. Also, Maisie Chambers, you tried to trick me. I trusted you. You're from previous live streams. I was going to read that out, but it was a trick to make me say something bad. It's okay. I got a new computer, but it's still a potato until I get a graphics card, lol. The thing is, though, it used to be without a graphics card. Actually, not. Can I be old man toy cat just for a bit? Back in my day, and by back in my day, I mean a long time before my day, but long enough that, like, it was still an issue that I had to deal with every now and then on older motherboards. Back in my day, you know, computers literally wouldn't run without a graphics card. Like, if you tried to run a computer, like, you know, the video output's done by the graphics card. And the reason that's... Oh, this is not how you enchant elytras. Can you enchant any elytras at the enchantment table? Like, you must not be able to, no. I'm going to assume. But, yeah, basically... Oh, it's only 19 to repair this. Should we just do that? Wait, first... Yeah, we'll do it, sure. Let's go for it. I need to mine most of the stream anyway. So 3, 4. There we go. Perfect. I'm not sure why that was so cheap today. It cost me 30 levels recently, but we'll just assume something changed. But yeah, so you literally needed a graphics card to run a computer. But in the last like even 5 years, integrated graphics have gone from the bare minimum you need to run until you get a graphics card. Because it used to be you wouldn't run at all. Like you had no graphics output, you wouldn't be able to see what was on the screen. Whereas nowadays it's like, oh yeah, you can play games on your integrated graphics just at low settings. And it's like, my god. Like, it must suck to be like an Nvidia or an AMD in this market. Like, their primary product is becoming a part of someone else's product. I've always thought that's like a sad casualty of like technology improvements. It's like, I don't know, it's, if you make, I don't know, like, you know how Tesla's famous making all their batteries? If you make batteries right now, it sucks because there are people whose the only way their stuff can work is if they can make better batteries than you. Like, for them to succeed, they need to put you out of business. Like, it must suck to be a battery maker. Like, on the other hand, you should just make better batteries or whatever. But, you know, it's sad to me regardless. So, Toycat, did you have your MacBook back off being robbed? No. When something gets stolen from you, you don't get it back. Like, maybe we tell ourselves that so that society keeps running, but, like, that's not how it works. If something gets stolen from you, I don't know what the odds are, but it's like 97% you won't get it back. Because, like, how do you track down stuff? Like, you don't. You don't. There is something called Find My Mac, but it works when connected to Wi-Fi, and if you just turn off the laptop or don't connect to Wi-Fi. Oh, now you've gotten past the defenses. Alaska's the biggest state. I've always got to clarify biggest state by population, not area. Like, area doesn't matter to most countries. It only matters to, I guess, countries as big as the US. Anyway, so cat. What's the difference between a cat and a potato? A potato will love you more sincerely than a cat will. I think that's a pretty fair statement to make. Technology improvements, yeah. The bet we've gone is making a hologram for over 350k over the course of 11 months to making a single hologram. I mean, like, maybe the hologram technology isn't where you want it to be, but like, the truth is, making predictions about technology, like over 20 years in the future, is so ridiculous. Like, yeah, holograms, they suck. But the fact that we have any holograms is kind of cool. It's just, you know, technology is always focused in a few areas at a time. Like right now, you know, for the longest time, batteries didn't improve. For the longest time, I think it was storage didn't improve. Like, getting fast hard drives is really, really hard. Getting bigger SSDs wasn't happening. But suddenly the switch to SSDs, so right now, I think the biggest hard drive you can buy might be 6 or 12 terabytes. Like, you can buy bigger ones, but they're not widely available. You know, there was a big stop for a while on that point. There's a lot of things. Cameras didn't improve for quite some time. There's a lot, like, technology happens in really weird places at really specific times. Because, you know, there has to be certain progress in society that leads to it. Like, when battery life improves, oh, so can mobile performance, because you have more things to play around with. When also, good to see you, Triz. Hope you're having a good Thursday. You know, I need to stop keeping like days in my greetings. I'll seem, you know, it ruins your credibility. Not credibility, but it ruins your ability to be like, oh yeah, you know, I don't know what day of the week it is. I have a vague idea that it's probably not Sunday, and then you kind of have to lose it after that. Anyway, thoughts growing babies and oh, okay, that was a weird one. I think that was going somewhere bad. I'm glad that got deleted before I read that. You know, this is the thing about live streams. I like to read comments like as I'm reading for the first time. Sometimes I try not to sometimes, but sometimes it's like, you know, let's do this for fun. It's like Q&A, and that's where it goes real questionable sometimes. Also, my ears. Yeah, let's turn it down a little bit. It is a little bit excessive. I'll agree with that. So we're gonna keep looking around for Nether Quartz. The more we mine, the more it goes dry, and the more we have to find somewhere else to mine. But that's just life, you know. That's just life. Also, I'm sorry, forgive me, Supreme Leader. It's gonna take some time to rebuild your trust now. Can we get through this wall? We can't. I guess we'll just keep digging this way. Oh no, we got up here. This looks new. It's okay, if you had a chance to go back in time and be born in a different country, which one would you choose? I think it'd be fun to be born... Actually, not okay, so I think statistically, you probably have the best life if you're born in, like, a Singapore, a Hong Kong, a Monaco, a Liechtenstein. You know, like, if you pick a really tiny microstate, the most successful big country is, what, like, America? But I don't think, you know, assuming you take your same birth standards, you know, like I'm something, you know, I want to say based on my household income, I was born to like, you know, bottom 10 or 15 or 20% or something. I feel like in America that's a much more brutal situation, which, you know, again, that's how Americans like it. I don't want to be one of those guys who are like, wow, ho ho ho, America sure is bad because it's different. It's like, sure, you know, run your country how you want to run it, but if I had to pick, I think I would have a worse time in America than I did here. But, you know, the cool thing about the internet is I basically had all the advantages of growing up in America because, you know, most of my early clients when I was doing the advertising thing were just Americans anyway. Like, that, the cool thing about the internet is, like, you know, I bought a website script from a Mexican. I had a business partner who was a Molten, actually. A Molten? A Dalmatian? Something like that. No, Dalmatia is a Croatian island. I don't know what you call Molten people. The Moltens? He was from Malta. You know, I had a lot of good friends from the Netherlands. And I had a lot of business clients from America. And I did some outsourcing to India, all in the same place. Like, I like that a lot because it's kind of like, you know, the internet kind of makes it less relevant where you're born these days. You know, a lot of you watching aren't from London. If you're from the UK, you're definitely not from London. If you're not from the UK, you might be from the US. A lot of you are. You might be from Australia, Canada. You know, even 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years, I think 10 years is where Twitch was about formed, or just in. It's like, there wouldn't have been a way for me to live talk to you. It's possible now, you know. A lot of I think your country you're born in becomes less relevant on a lot of levels. But, you know, besides, like, physically what you can do in your one area, but, like, every rich country has bad areas. Every poor country has great areas. So, yeah. I know. I think that rant made some sense. Hey, it's okay. I love you. I'm from the US and I'm from Canada. Says Rebecca T and Anna Marie. So what you're saying here is you have to fight to the death to decide who has the better country. Yeah, look at that. I said it. I made it Canadian. No, I love Canada, like, so much. I can never quite word my love for Canada. And I always have this issue where I'm like, you know, I don't know if this is just me or everyone else in the UK, but I swear there is a genuine affection, as far as I can tell, between the you know, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, the UK. Maybe not Australia. I don't know what their whole game is, but I don't know. It's like the cutest thing in my opinion. There's like 4 countries, pretty much as far separated as geography allows. Like, you know how far away Canada is from the UK? You know how far New Zealand is from Canada? But we're all good friends anyway. Language is a thing too. Yeah, that's actually why, so, it's interesting, I guess because of the internet, and because of the prevalence of English in the last 30 years, It's been prevalent for a long time, but the increased prevalence that English goes through. It's kind of cool that you can speak to anyone, anywhere, with a reasonable expectation they'll understand you. Like it used to be back during the Cold War. There were two competing global languages, English, Russian. Well, a lot of countries, Russian was the de facto second language. And then some countries it would be German. Some countries you might learn some Chinese because it's near you. Now it's like, you learn your language, and then you learn English second. And it's weird because as someone who speaks English as their first, it's like, oh yeah, of course you like that system. But it's cool, like, isn't it? Imagine in 50 years or 100 years, telling people about right now, it's like, so you could speak to anyone on Earth, right? You'd be like, no. Wait, you lived in a time where you had smartphones, 50 satellites roaming the planet at any time. You'd gone to the moon, you were going to Mars, but you couldn't speak to other humans. Well, you could speak to them if they understood the same language as you. Okay, how many people understood the same language as you? Well, if you spoke the most spoken language on the planet, around 1 in 10 people can understand you. Like, isn't that the most... We can't talk to other people, most other people. And I don't know why, but that's, like, still the most mind-blowing thing we just accept as being a fact. Like, oh yeah, you just can't speak to most people. You don't know the language. So yeah, that's, it's like, fun facts of Toy Cat. Isn't it crazy? I sometimes like to think, like, the past, looking at, like, what the present will look like as the past. And I think the biggest, like, a lot of the ones that are hard to work out is, like, what things do we do now? They'll be viewed, like, you know how they used to put leeches on people to drain blood? It used to actually work in very specific cases. That was the best medical technology they had. We're going to look the same as, like, that right now. Like, oh yeah, so when someone gets sick, we radiate the cancer out of them. I think I've actually spoken about that recently. But, like, you know how we cure cancer? We kill the person, and we hope the cancer dies first. I know English and Spanish, but it's still mind-blowing that you can't communicate with everyone on Earth due to language barriers. And that you can't even communicate with a fraction. Well, I mean, it is a fraction, but you can't communicate with, a very high proportion of them. If you were placed in a room with a random human being, odds are you wouldn't be able to speak. Maybe nowadays, like, they might know a few words of English on average, but, like, not enough to repopulate the Earth or whatever it takes. I mean, I guess I'm assuming there's 2 of you left on the planet and you're both opposite genders, but you get the point. Anyway, so, isn't that kind of crazy? I think so. What do you think of Dark Games, DDLC? DDLC? Do you mean like the Dark Souls games, maybe? I'm not sure what DDLC is. Sounds like a nice metaphor. The crazy thing about language is even with tech like Bubblefish, Instant Translator, you won't even need to learn other languages. So yeah, the thing is though, instant translating is always just around the corner, never actually here. Skype recently did a trailer for theirs, which makes it look like instant translation. I had a German girlfriend at the time, so she spoke to me in German, I spoke to her in English. You know what it does? Again, unlike the trailers where you can just hear their voice, but it's in your language. All it is it works out what you're saying, transcripts it, uses the transcript, puts it through text-to-speech, and then tells you what they said. And it's cool, but that's not a human conversation. That's like a list of demands, And yeah, long story short, there are 2 ways we can do this, through technology or through language change. And I think just everyone learning 2 languages and the second language, ideally, or 3 languages if you live in that part of the world. Whatever you feel like, I guess, is my point. So, do you think that Minecraft will ever get popular again? It's the second... No, it's the most played game right now. There's a chance it loses that spot. But the question is, do you think Minecraft will lose its popular status? Not, will it get popular again? I don't know why. It's that interesting thing where, like, a lot of people think Minecraft's on the down. Again, I think it's demographic shift or something. Demographics is such a weird thing. Like, you know how sometimes you stop watching a YouTuber and you're like, oh, they must have died. And then you come back years later and they're still around and they're like, oh, I stopped, knowing about you and caring about you. It's a real thing. I guess some people do that with my channel. It's like, wow, Toycat's still going. There's similarities, but there's differences. I think a lot of people must get that with Minecraft as a game. Like, wow, I left it and it's still around. And Therefore, it must be like a tiny thing where everyone must have the same experience as me. It's like, oh no, yeah, everyone's been playing it, or a lot of people have been playing it all these years. And it's like, really? And it's like, yeah, that's how this one works. So, yeah, with that said, apparently it's pretty hard to AH translate things, because yeah, so, if you've ever tried translating a language, even on the basic levels, you realize that, like, oh, yeah. Even getting past basic stuff, like, if you translate the word hello into, even pick a really similar language to English, like a Swedish, or a German, or a Spanish, you know, European languages, they have multiple, Italian, there are so many words for hello in Italian, and I still don't know the context behind which ones you say and where, and why, etc. But, like, you can see how, like, oh, so that's like a problem, right? Like, which one do you translate hello to? If I say hello, you now have to know the context of the situation just to give me the right translation for hello. You can give me the wrong translation, but imagine if you say hello to someone and then they're using auto-translate and they say good morning and you say how are you? And because the polite thing to say in English is good, how are you? They say like, you know, good, how are you feeling? And it's like, they're saying how are you? They're saying the same thing, but it's not quite perfect. And I'm trying to like talk about the most basic issues. There are so, like language, you know, there's a famous thing where like Eskimos have like 71 words for snow or something. And actually, is Eskimo an okay term? You know, if it's not, I'm sorry, Eskimos. But there probably aren't any watching this stream, right? But you get the point that like, man, it is a whole thing. Do you speak any other languages? I don't speak any other languages. I just speak English, sadly. I wish I spoke other languages. The problem is that I've never had one language which was useful. Again, like, when you say this as an English speaker, you're the most arrogant jerk. Oh no! Please save me. Okay, I'm alive. I didn't fall in lava. It's the most arrogant thing to say, but like, when you try to speak English in a lot of countries, when you try to speak the local language, they'll switch out to you, and it's like, I'd be humoring them and making their life worse to learn their language. Like, you obviously learn the greetings, the pleasantries, some nice things, and you can never truly interact because of that. But, yeah, and because I don't go to the same country, like, you know, because I, you know, like, when I'm in Russia, I can't learn Russian fully before I go, and then I can't learn Swedish before I go to Sweden, and then Danish, followed by, you know, all these different languages, which just isn't really practical. That's what, I know I know, like, 20 words in maybe, like, 10 languages now, though. So, as far as language coverage goes, that's a big amount, right? So, Kat, why'd you like Xbox as opposed to PlayStation? Oh, so, I know we were just talking about one day having a homogenous Earth culture, which is perhaps, I think that's called being a globalist, right? I'm not sure if that's what that is. I don't know most of the conspiracy ones, but, you know, way more offensive than talking about one day unifying language on Earth is the Xbox PlayStation debate. Also, big thank you, Major Chambers, for the £2 super chat. I must repent. Please accept my offering of peace. You know, it does make your Eric Shun comment okay from earlier. You see, I had to leave a very big gap between those two words. A very big gap. And I would not have done that on the thing. So I need to get out of here, I guess. I'm kind of like trapped down below, and I want to be up high. So we just need to find a way up, I guess. Should be easy enough. Hey there, ghosts. How's it going? Going good? That's good to hear. I'm just going to get down into one of these caves. Oh! Worst way to do things. How has Germany always been so strong? They basically took over Europe in both world wars when they separated from the Cold War. Now they're basically leader of the EU. So, here's... You know, do you want to do history of Germany real quick? Okay, wait. Actually, wait, no, we've got to do Xbox versus PlayStation, then we'll come back to Germany, if anyone cares still. So the Xbox PlayStation thing, honestly, all it was you had to pick it. When it came to the PS2, Xbox GameCube generation, things were pretty okay. Like, you'd sometimes argue with friends which console is best, but the truth was, you know, the PlayStation 2 was the big games console everyone had. The GameCube was the one you needed the Nintendo games. And the Xbox was the weird one with a few unique games, like Halo. It had Xbox Live, which was a big thing, but only used by a small percentage of players. So when it went to the 360 generation, it basically came down to like, hey, now there's online play. You know, you've got two options. You can play on the platform where all your friends are, or you can decide that your hardware preferences are more important than that. a lot of people I know did stick to their hardware preferences. They played PS3 despite my school being a very much 360 school. But I just bought an Xbox anyway. I was a big fan of the Xbox than the PS2. I liked it more than the GameCube. I don't know why. It's a whole thing. So basically, I just decided, okay, I'm on the 360 side here. And then Minecraft was announced for 360. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll play that. And then kind of the channel became a Minecraft 360 channel. A lot of the stuff that I tried to do with this channel, and I know this seems ridiculous, but it was like, yeah, you know, the 360 version of Minecraft is just as valid as any other one. Like, I wanted to kind of correct the stereotype that it was just a weird port for the game. So it kind of became like a part of the channel identity and like a part of like what I cared about. And then when the Xbox One came about, Minecraft Xbox One edition, it was like, oh yeah, it makes sense to get that one too. And then, yeah, so I've always had like a part of my like gaming identity has been like on the Xbox side of things. Not for any reason, not because the Xbox hardware is better. The Xbox hardware is definitely not better than the PlayStation hardware at this point. I don't think that's even a controversial point. But also, big thank you, Jack. Oh, that's a nice name for the £1 super chat. So why don't you use a PC? It's still useful once you go out of gaming. So yeah, I have a PC. Okay, you know, the thing that upsets most PC gamers is not that I don't play on PC, it's learning what my rig specs are, and then I don't play on PC. I've got a 6950X, I want to say. It's, I've got a PC that a lot of people would like. Oh, so I need 35 levels for this one, which I cannot afford, right? Actually, should we get 35 levels and do that next? Let's do it next, yeah, sure. Let's enchant one more pickaxe. Then let's go and do this, because why not? Also, we need to make a place for all this Nether Quartz. Just put it here. Make my life easy. For now, let's enchant another pickaxe, though. I'm hoping for efficiency on breaking. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, no, I didn't. I'm going crazy. That's a good sign. It's good to go crazy. First super chat ever. What do you think about Norway, says Tatalana? I feel like I talk about how much I love Norway too much. Like, there's no way you're going to convince me to do it again. But no, yeah, Norway is my favorite Nordic. I feel like, if you're being honest with yourself, the country you were born in probably isn't the best country, and probably isn't your favorite country. I don't mean you, I mean in general, anyone watching this stream. And I feel like the country that, like, feels the most right to me in terms of how people conduct themselves socially, in terms of, like, the priorities of the country, a lot of different things, I would say probably is Norway. I love Norway. Every time I go, I'm just happy with the place. It's crazy expensive, though, so I don't go as often as one would maybe like. But yeah, so I love Norway. Don't love the prices. And that's why I don't live in Norway. I know if you work in Norway, it's cheaper because you get paid a lot more. But if you work on, say, the internet, living in Norway is just the most ridiculous thing you do. It's like deciding to, you know, live in the center of a big city. You know, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, Norway's depressing winter because it's cold, slippery, and dark. I mean, that's what I love about your country. I mean, maybe this is offensive, but, like, I love that it's cold, slippery, and dark. Those are my favorite things. I wish my house was colder, slippery, and darker. Actually, you know, I'm going to scrap the slippery. Slippery is probably not a good thing. People probably die from slipping. Actually, I think that's actually a fact. Like, a lot of people die from slips. That's not good. Ideally, people should not die from slipping. However, cold and dark, man, I can get down with some cold and dark. The only reason I don't like the dark sometimes is when I know I don't have any good excuse for avoiding it. But if I had some I want to get just the coal. Can I do that, do you reckon? Just the coal. Just the coal. Darn it. I don't want the sword. I'm from Sweden, I love the cold. And it's like, the only reason dark's bad is when you know that there is light and you're just not getting it. If there's no light to be gone, I'm fine with that. You know? Like, light doesn't recharge me. I think most humans are a bit like plants. They get recharged by them beautiful sun rays. But for me personally, at least, I'm more of a fan of the darkness. Actually, that sounds like a weird thing to say, but like, I am personally more of a fan of just like colder, darker environments. It is due to geography. Yeah, it's because of the position, etc., etc., etc. On the Earth, makes it darker, gives it less days. Like the one thing that I wouldn't be able to live with in Singapore. Singapore is one of my favorite places on Earth too, but it's hot all day, all year. They have 12 hours of sunlight in the winter, where it's like 11 hours, 45 minutes in the winter, and like 12 hours, 15 minutes in the summer. Or something like 15, it's like 5 minutes variance. And it's sunny all day, every day, and it's hot all day, every day. Oh, I avoided those hits. I should get out of here, though, for that reason. Let's just fly. Whee. So as long as we don't fall right into a gas trap, like we are right now, I think we're just okay. So, but yeah, so like hot, sunny countries, that's awful for me. I like dark but hate cold. But the truth is, cold is... no one likes cold itself, right? The feeling where you get too cold is the worst feeling in the world. But it's so easy to avoid being cold versus feeling too hot in the heat. If it feels too hot in a hot country, what do? You find air conditioning, or you accept that it's hot now. That's just how it is for you. Like, it's hot. It's always been hot. It's always going to be hot. Whereas, okay, so there's more lava there. Good thing I spotted that. I didn't spot that. But if it gets hot in a hot country, yep, you're hot. You could walk slower. You could hope that it's a fine thing. You're going to get sunburnt. It's a whole thing. If you get cold in a cold country, put on a jacket. You have a jacket because you're in a cold country. You can get really warm jackets that, like, even at like -20, it feels fine. Minus 30, whatever the minus. And the reason for that I learned recently is because the air is really, really bad at insulating, conducting heat. So, okay, so let's go back to this actually. Toy Cat and his Titanic fun facts. All day, every day. So, the reason the Titanic, do you know how everyone died? Like, thousands of people fell into the water, they died, it's a tragedy. But, there was a disaster in Sweden, near Estonia, I want to say, where 1,000 people fell into the sea, and a couple hundred of them survived. And it's like, so, why did the Titanic, everyone who fell into the water, with almost very little exception, died? But in Sweden, there were no lifeboats anyone got into. Lots of people lived. How do people live in the water versus in there, not versus there? It's the temperature of the water. Minus, like, 10 degrees water is worse than minus 80 degrees air. Like, unless you're properly insulated, right? But even if you were, like, water is so much better at just taking your heat away from you that you just die minutes into cold water. So there you go, fun fact. If you do decide to go on a boat and you're scared of drowning in some icy waters, just go somewhere where the water's not so icy. You'll be fine. That's why they died because Rose didn't save Jack. Oh man, I'll be honest, I still haven't watched Titanic. I should. No, in fact I should. No, there's no reason for me to watch Titanic. But yeah, it's one of those things. I think it's the idea that it can sink. Yeah, a lot of people... Okay, so, you know how hindsight... I really love... Okay, so, you know how I said earlier, we're going to look back at not being able to speak to people on Earth as like, really? You lived in 2018 where you could smart order food to your house from anywhere. You know, like, you can be sitting on the toilet and you can get noodles delivered to your front door. You know, we live in this time of day, no matter where you live. I'm sure that's true. Or like, in fact, you can get pretty much anything delivered to your door in an hour if you live in a big city. We live in that time, but you can't talk to people. That's hindsight, right? Kind of, or at least it will be hindsight. In the same way, one of the things that frustrates me beyond no end is people looking at the Titanic of hindsight and saying, ho ho ho, if only we'd had more lifeboats. More lifeboats would have saved so many lives. And it's like, that's such a ridiculously in hindsight thing to say. One, the Titanic wasn't thought to be sinkable. It was the safest cruise ship. The guy, you know, like, the captain was like, oh, the Titanic, I don't think that'll be sinkable. But even if they assumed it would sink, which they, you know, anyone who was in charge of safety was like, oh yeah, there's a chance the Titanic will sink. That's of course a possibility. But, you know, like, those people realize you don't need enough lifeboats for everyone on board because you ferry them to nearby ships. There was a ship, I think it's 6 miles from the Titanic, and you know what the funny thing? They just assumed that when the Titanic was sinking, like, they're probably fine. They're just letting off their emergency flares because they're having a party or something. Legit thing. The real crisis behind the Titanic, I don't know why it's not stated as a thing. Maybe it's because it's like an American, there's got to be something political going on there, but the real reason so many people died on the Titanic was because the ship next to them, they could see each other, just assumed everything was fine until the last minute, and then they left. And long story short, there's a ship called the Californian that basically doomed thousands of people to their life. The disaster isn't really the disaster of the Titanic sinking. You know, ships can sink. It had 12 compartments. 4 of them had to be sunk to sink the ship. 5 got sunk. Okay, it's fine. But the real story is that, like, you know what? We didn't have radios back then that were, like, required to be manned. If you're in the middle of the ocean, how do you signal to other ships? Like, I'm in danger, come save my people. And it's like emergency flares. What happens when the other ship says, emergency flares are probably, they're just having fun. It's the Titanic. So yeah, long story short, I don't know. It annoys me sometimes that, like, looking back with hindsight, you can get things so wrong. And it's, you know, again, in the Titanic's case, it was like mistake after mistake after mistake that, like, films will portray as being like, we shouldn't be so arrogant about things. But really, it's like, you know, we should just be better people to each other. You see someone in danger, you should save them. That should be the lesson of the Titanic. A lot of people were actually so convinced the Titanic wouldn't sink, they didn't get in the lifeboats anyway. The reason they went, like, half full, you probably heard that fun fact, is because people were like, look, the Titanic, it started tilting a bit. The Titanic's tilting right now, but it's not gonna sink. And they're like, it's going to sink. We have people dying to save your lives for an extra half an hour. They're like, oh, whatever, it's all fine. Like, I don't know, a lot of people were sleeping the whole time, just died in their sleep. Whole fun thing. Because they're like, you know, I'm gonna go back to sleep. This sinking nonsense is probably a crew drill. I don't know, it's like, you know how when your school does like a fire drill? At least every school I've ever been to, maybe it's different in the UK to the US, but every school I've ever been to, or college even, did fire drills once a year. I never assumed when the fire alarm went off it was a fire. I assumed it's a drill. If I was sleeping during those fire alarms, I would have probably been like, you know, like, I'm gonna go back to sleep. And yeah, on the Titanic, assuming it wouldn't sink is a big flaw. The fact that there was another boat that assumed it wouldn't sink was a big flaw. And the fact that they didn't try to help when they saw the warnings, or didn't even try to, like, be more professional about things, is a big problem. So yeah, Titanic, there you go, fun facts. The advertising said unsinkable, it has to be true. Yeah, I guess, like, but, like, it should have been, you know, it was a very unlikely event that was just responded to badly by everyone involved. It's just that's not as catchy a story, is it? Like, you kind of want to believe that someone made a big mistake, because if they didn't, then that's kind of sad. In the US, we have to do fire drill once a month. See, at once a month, I'd never believe it. I'd be like, sigh. Because they always say, don't take your bags, and it's like, no, someone's going to rob me if I leave my bag here. I kid actually did that once in, like, when I was in, like, year 3. It wasn't my stuff he stole, but the teacher had to be like, oh, someone's stuff has gone missing, everyone tell them about it. And then she found it in, like, a kid's, like, private drawer space, and she's like, how'd it get in there? And he's like, I don't know. And it's like, oh man, this kid just stole some stuff. I can't trust him. He's not a trustworthy fella. So okay, if you had a chance to know another language without learning it, what it would be, I'd choose German. So if you could learn it without learning a language, you have to pick a hard one, because you can learn German in, like, 28 weeks fluently, based on the US diplomat page. There's a page that, because the US has to train so many diplomats, they've worked out how long it takes to train them in each language. It's really quick for English speakers to learn German. Even though German has, like, genders, which is garbage, BS. Like, they've got free words for the, for instance. Even though that's a whole thing. Sorry, let me collect my thoughts. Yeah, so German is really easy to learn. I would be like, traditional Mandarin or something. Or, yeah, I think, honestly, not right now, because China's not open for business, but, like, learning Chinese is going to be one of those valuable traits. In about 10 years, it's going to go real fast. I don't know when those 10 years, or even if it won't be, you know, like, who knows how the future will play out. Nobody knows. People pretend they know sometimes. But, yeah, basically, I would say Chinese. Kind of like, you know, like Russian. You know, speaking to Russians, they don't know English much, a little. And it's like, oh yeah, you just can't speak to Russians. It's just a fact. Want to speak to Russians? Use a translator on intermediate. The gender thing in German is the absolute worst. Every European language has genders, and every European language has different genders for each word. That's what I find insane. So, with the exception of English and Hungarian, every European language... Oh, maybe Frisian, actually. One of the weird Dutch dialects. It might not be Frisian, actually. It might be another one. But, pretty much every European language has genders. What I don't get though, so I'm gonna have to dive into this sometime. Every European language has different words, different genders for the same word. In Spanish, keys are la, or what's it, le? El, I think it is. Again, I've got a lot of European languages mixed up there. So keys are females in German, and keys are men in German. Wait, Spanish, they're females, and men, they're German. And it's just like, why is that? Oh yeah, because it got mixed up at some point. It's like, but whatever. It's confusing. Finnish doesn't have gender. See, that's good. I'd learn Finnish if it was. Wait. Let me make a joke here. If I started learning a language, you better believe I'd finish. Yeah, that was high quality. Thank you very much for watching the stream. Frisian's not dialect. It's official second language. Thank you very much. I always assume it is because, like, Dutch as a whole language can be... It's not considered dialect, but Dutch is... Oh, this is... Okay, here's where I offend the Dutch viewers, but Dutch is kind of like a cross between English and German already. So when you take, like, a cross between English and a cross between English and German, that's why I assume that. Apologies for offending your province, though. Province? Yeah, they're called provinces in the Netherlands, probably. It's okay. Going back to your slipping topic, over 32,000 people die from slipping/falls. Oh, I have a story, actually. Do you want to know about the guiltiest I've ever felt in my life? Ever. I think that second ever was redundant. Let me tell you a story about slipping and dying. So once, when I was a really young child, maybe 8, I was playing football with my brother, and my grandmother walked us to the park. She's maybe like 60 at this point. She has a walking stick. I'm an 8-year-old kid. I don't know what walking sticks are. I just assume that's an old people accessory. Like, I want the hippest new iPod. Grandma wants the hippest new walking stick. These are just things you accept when you're a child. You just kind of have to. So, one of the things... also, I need to get out of here, but I have no idea where here is. But, so yeah, one of the things that we're doing that, and we're walking along. She's taken us to the park because she's been a grandmother, and that's what grandmothers do. And so I kick the ball. It goes between her legs, and she slips over. She falls on the grass. And, like, my initial instinct is like, oh, my bad. I've knocked her over, right? Like, what's the deal with that? Like, if it was literally like the most gentle fall onto grass. So it's like, oh, that's a thing. But like, she's like, oh hell, this is not good. Like, when adults make a distress sound and you're a child and you're like, oh god, something has gone horrifically wrong here. And yeah, I believe I broke several bones in my grandmother's body, I believe. But like the guilt and just knowing, like, man, that was me, man. Like, I did that. And then my brother was like the least helpful about it. He was like, yeah, you did. It wasn't me. It was all you. You did that. You kicked the ball. It was on, like, because, in his head, he's just trying to absolve himself responsibility. And I'm like, oh my god, do I go to, like, prison now? Or what's the scoop with that? And, yeah, she was on, like, crutches for, like, months. All because of me. And, yeah, now, that's why I don't play football anymore. Checkmate. There we go. No, I'm just kidding on all of that. I'm surprisingly unscathed by the whole thing, actually. My parents are so blindly obsessed with Italy that they like the Italian gender rules. Grammar abuse. Yeah, no, by the way, that's my Sri Lankan grandma, Asian grandma. That's why I'm a quarter Asian. Fun fact, since I can. But no, yeah, I feel it made me feel at the time like, man, maybe I would even go as far as to say, one of the reasons I've always stated, the reason I don't like too much human contact is because, like, when talking, the more time you spend with people, the more liable you are to eventually hurt a person. And maybe it goes back to that. There we go. We've worked out Toy Cat's deep-seated trauma right there. But no, yeah, fun fact with Toy Cat. I don't know if I've told that story before, actually. I don't think I have. But it's, I don't know. It's weird, right? Feeling, everyone tells you it's okay, but it's not okay. You broke someone else's bones. Also, big thank you, Coit Anderson, for the $2 super chat. Keep it up. Thank you very much. I'll keep it up. I'm even gonna keep today's live stream going a little bit longer. I think we've hit. Oh no, we're just about to hit 85 minutes. You know, I'm gonna clock bait you guys. It's gonna be more than 85. It's gonna be the best. Did you know cats are trying to kill you? They're tripping up like stairs. Yeah, every cat I've ever had has tried to kill me like several times with this method. It has been a whole ordeal. So block of quartz. Place it in the chest. Oh, this is the chest we're using for quartz apparently. We're doing pretty well on the quartz front. Like, look how much quartz I have just from this one string. And now, just to get this done, I'm gonna repair this elytra. Because I want to have multiple working elytras, just so they're done. Actually, wait, can we use less? Oh, we could use less. It just costs the same. Sure, that's fine. So now we've got a fully repaired secondary elytra, which is nice to have. It's just a handy second convenience, in my opinion. Sorted! There we go. So I need to kill more phantoms as well, but they'll spawn next time I come back here during the night. Let's go back to the Nether, though. We should probably drop off some stuff, but I'm not going to. Hello, I just joined. How are you doing, says Dark Liquid? I'm going pretty good. Yourself? How's your new chair? Is it okay? Oh, I'm going to show off my, You clock fated me. I did. I'm going to show off the new chair on a live stream on Sunday? Monday? I don't know what day it is. Next Google Toy Cat stream, you'll see the chair. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Like, it's gonna be one of those things that a lot of people have seen it. When I first posted, like, oh yeah, this is a chair I really want. People are like, fun joke, Toy Cat. Because on social media, everyone's always like, oh yeah, I want this, I want that. But like, wanting things is easy, in my opinion. I mean, if you don't believe so, that's a whole thing. But wanting things is easy. Buying things is apparently a lot harder. So now I have the chair, and a lot of people are still looking at it and be like, wow, I'm not sure if I believe that. Monday is this Kit Kats. There we go. It's Monday. There's going to be a Cooking with Toy Cat live stream. I'm hyped for it. I am hyped. Toy Cat, are you secretly a furry? I mean, if I was secretly a furry, I wouldn't say, but I'm also not secretly a furry. That's not my game. Also, big thank you, Tatiana, for throwing money at me because you're having so much fun. That's awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. It seems like such a handy chair to have. Hey, Mr. Gad, I am making that joke on Monday's live stream, and I'm gonna say I came up with it myself. And it's okay to admit that you're stealing as long as it's okay to steal as long as you admit you're stealing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Monday's live stream. It's gonna be a good one. What we'll probably do this next week is like reverse Monday and Tuesday. Upload the Let's Play on Monday and Cooking with Toy Cat on Tuesday. Wait, other way around. I mean, we're gonna upload Cooking with Toy Cat Tuesday. Let's Play Monday. Oh, it'll be a fun thing. So yeah, let's go back to Nether Quartz mining though. You know this. I can't clock bait you and clickbait you. That would just be rude. So I'm probably not even gonna get much of this, but we've got to try our best, I guess. Actually, maybe we should just follow the pathway along a bit further, see where it takes me. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Oh, I might be trapped there. But yeah, that's not ideal. You've got my question. Why is Germany so strong? So Germany hasn't been united for a very long time at all. Germany is like a concept. Only came about like the 1870s. All of Europe, really, with the exception really being the UK, and even then, it's a loose exception. Didn't really used to be countries until a couple hundred years ago. And when all the countries came together, you know, they all had their own strengths and weaknesses. Germany's strength was just the pure land and effectively output that it had. You know, eventually, given enough time in a simulation, Germany would always be the you know, the winner economically speaking. Like, you know, if the current world goes how it keeps on going, you know, China will be the strongest power. They're the fastest grower. So eventually, and they've got the most people. You know, it's basic logic, right? So Germany, when it unified, it was basically like a countdown to when Germany would be the most powerful. Obviously, the US growth kind of changed everything. At one point, the US, the UK, and Germany were kind of like competing to see like who can have the best navy the fastest, because the UK. Oh, so okay. At one point, the UK was the dominant global superpower. There were like 3 countries kind of like going close to that. It was Germany, it was the US, and it was Japan. At the end of World War One, the plan was take away everything Germany has, and make, you know, Germany pay for this war that they basically started. They didn't really start it, but the idea was like have a blame for this war, so we all know it's not going to happen again. So we made Germany weak for like 20 years. making Germany weak made them elect Adolf Hitler, and it made a lot of bad things happen. But Hitler's the easiest one to describe. So Germany went for a bad time. Then a Germany that's angry of the world can do a lot of bad things to a lot of people. And then after World War II, Stalin wanted to be like, hey, let's make Germany even weaker, because we let them get a little bit of power this time, they start killing us. Whereas America had the idea of, hey, what if we make Germany strong, but we make them friends of us? Boom, there's your idea. And yeah, so West Germany was already a powerful country. Reunified of East Germany is now gaining. And God. It's kind of at the center of the EU and the center of everything else. Just because it's the largest country in Europe, which is a continent with very small countries otherwise. And yeah, fun facts. Will Jeremy be in your Twitch live stream? He will not. I have a surprise guest. It's gonna be great. Whew. I swear you're legit talking about what I'm learning. Yeah, the thing is, I feel like if you learn a history context, there's a lot more I'm not filling in. I just kind of care about the broad strokes of like when it comes to learning about the US, as there's a very so the US is the global hegemonic power right now. What the US says pretty much goes on a military level. Like, hey, do you want to invade Canada? If the US says you're not invading Canada. Like, even think about the Middle East, right? The fact that the US has any say in a region how far away? How many thousands of miles away? And I know someone's gonna be like, oh, it's the oil, ha ha ha, I'm so clever. No, the fact that the US is interested in every single conflict of the world is a thing. And basically, the 20th century is just the US's rise to power, with other countries that are convenient to that struggle growing alongside it, and countries that aren't not. With China being a notable exception. There you go, fun facts of Toy Cat. Easy. Which like the same thing happened with Japan, by the way. Like, Japan could have been destroyed by the US, and it almost kind of was. But instead of the US crushing both countries, they made them good friends. Japan and the US are like, if you didn't know about World War II, you would assume that Japan and the US had always been friends, right? If you didn't know about World War II, you'd assume Germany and the US had always been good friends until, insert current president here. But that's geopolitics of Toy Cat. There you go. So yeah, why has Germany been so powerful? It's the biggest country by land area, by population, by economy, and until wars happen, that stays that way. And when wars did happen, Germany was on the good end of, like, as in, they didn't do right things, they did impressive things. Like, if that makes sense. Like, if you invade another country and you win, it's not right that you invaded the country, but it's good for your country and bad for that country. There you go. Easy. Sorted. Now you know. Toy Cat, why is Germany so powerful? That's the reason why. I think, honestly, so at one point, okay, so this is a future Toy Cat video. Let me tell you the premise, and then you can tell me if you think this is interesting. At one point, Britain and France almost became a single country. Boom! And if that had come to be, it'd be the only country in Europe besides Russia that can rival Germany. Is that an interesting concept? You curious? If I piqued your interest? That's the whole thing. So yeah, IBX2Cat. At some point in the next 15 years, I'll cover that topic. Because it's funny, actually. One of my, it's that same old thing of like, everyone hates people very nearby them until they meet people very far away from them. And the British and the French are like the best example of this, where there is literally like the worst animosity between British and French people until it comes to any other country. Then we're like best friends. And it's like, that's just how things be. That's just that's just how it goes. Okay. Do you mean the union of England and France? I mean the union of the United Kingdom and the fourth French Republic. One of the French Republic. France has had too many republics. You know how we call the UK because there is a United Kingdom. We lost one of the countries in it, which is Ireland, and the Empire. That's a whole gone thing. But you just call it the UK, consistent across time. Do you know what you call France? You work out what time period in history, and it's the 1st through 5th French Republic. At least Germany doesn't have the audacity to call their stuff like the Fourth Reich, and you have to be like, so there was a Third Reich? What was the Second Reich? You know, that's a whole thing you always have to work out. EU equals strong. But yeah, so that's Germany in the EU, largest country. And actually, I want to talk about the EU sometime in the future too, because a lot of people, again, mostly people in the US, assume the EU is falling apart. But I mean, like, even if it loses 21 countries, it's still a pretty powerful union. It's a fun fact to tweak in. It's like, because the balance between US states and the balance between, like... Actually, I think it is a pretty similar balance, right? If you take the 10 biggest American states, I think they're more important than the next 40. I'm sorry, as in by population. In terms of, like, what they do. Yeah, there we go. Just offended all the Americans watching. I'm sorry. Okay. Let me find my script of things to make that better. But Five Guys is pretty great, so it's kind of like on the one hand, you know, offended the states, but Five Guys is pretty solid. Although Shake Shack does better lemonade than Five. So here's my one gripe with Five Guys, right? They only do freestyle Coke, at least in the UK. So you know those machines where you pick your flavor, you pick your drink, you can mix and match any flavors you want. You better believe I am a freaky scientist of that. But Shake Shack does like fresh lemonade that is way too unhealthy to drink. In other words, they make American-style food, which is my favorite thing in the universe. Wyoming is the best and least populated state. I'm sure that is a popular sentiment in Wyoming. I actually would like to go to Wyoming sometime. I feel like it's like a thing for the list of like, hey, where'd you go? Wyoming. And it's like, what is a Wyoming? Like, I genuinely think most British people would ask that if I were to bring it up. Oh, this is the part of the map I've been destroying. Right, that's convenient. Because I was making a big area around the world. We're gonna stop that though. 5 minutes left this for you fella. I'm gonna clock bait you. I'm gonna go a bit longer. I'm enjoying this. I was gonna get back to the no damage run, but I'm kind of dreading that. You know how when you're dreading something, your mind comes up with anything to do instead of it. I guess that's literally procrastination, right? But like, when you're scared of something, time kind of goes slower. And I'm really, really terrified of that run. Like it's killing my soul, but I want to do it anyway. Is there any particular reason you don't stream on Twitch? Says Felicia. Felicia. The reason I don't stream on Twitch is because I really don't agree with the. Again, it's the same thing about YouTube, about Nintendo. I know a lot of streamers like Twitch. There's a good community there. I would argue maybe even a better. There's not really a community on YouTube, but Twitch has a community. But personally, what I hate about Twitch is so YouTube has a pretty fair system. It's everyone gets there's a set of rules that you get screwed by. They might not be a fair set of rules, but everyone gets screwed the same. On Twitch, there are people called enforcers. I don't know if they're called admins or moderators, but there are site-wide people that scroll through to search for family-friendly content, as in non-family-friendly content, and they'll tell you to stop streaming if you're in breach of some of those rules. Which, you know, okay, that's fair enough, I guess. But that isn't how the whole platform works. It's how it works for some people. It's such a arbitrary, you know, like, when it comes to rules, I want the rules to be the same for everyone. There needs to be fixed rules like, hey, you know, like, can you do this? Yes or no? Not, can I do this if I have more than 100,000 subscribers? And also, here's the worst thing about Twitch, right? Here is the reason, if there wasn't bad enough. So Twitch, not only do they enforce rules selectively, so the bigger the partner you are, the more rules you can break because they know they're scared of losing you. Depending on how big you are on Twitch, they'll take different amounts of your revenue, which it's to some extent how some YouTube networks work. But YouTube's, again, pretty egalitarian about that. It's like, it takes 30%, you know, and off your super chat, and it takes 45% for your ad revenue, you know, because it's really expensive. So, also, yeah, I know Jay Davis, I was referencing something from earlier, but it's good news. I'm glad Nintendo fixed it. I'll play Nintendo games now, and I'll go on Twitch once they fix their system. But right now, the way it works is they give you a variable amount off your... So when someone if you subscribe to someone on Twitch, you assume you're giving them $5. No, you're giving them about $2 to $3, depends on the user. Sometimes $4 or $4.50. But you don't know how much, and the streamer can't say how much they get from each thing. It is confidential. Even other streamers are terrified. Every streamer I've spoken to is really scared of telling me what they get because it's you know, you get banned from the platform if you tell people what you earn from that subscription. And this means the little guys, the guys who need the subscriptions the most, Twitch is taking the highest percent of their money just because they can. Whereas the larger users, it's like, oh yeah. So I mean, obviously, you know, you bring stuff into the platform. We can't have you leaving to go on thing or whatever. That is the worst. In my opinion, having an inconsistently enforced rules and also having secret contracts. Like, I like to be very public with everything. I literally share the income the second channel makes. I want you to be aware of as much as you can. You know, like, knowledge and learning are things I care about. That's why we spoke about the Titanic and how hindsight's awful. And how the Californian just went past it because learning is important and stuff. So in a similar way to that, in a similar vein, I think on Twitch, like, not being able to share key information and also being screwed by the information I'm not sharing, that's that. And then on top of that, so you might be like, okay, so Twitch enforces their rules inconsistently, they pay out inconsistently, okay, that's fine. They also accept partners inconsistently. It used to be very clear on their website, if you have this many subscribers, you can become a Twitch partner. Okay, that's a fine thing, I guess. Every time I'd apply, because I wanted to try out Twitch at least. They were like, sorry, you have to stream this many times, get this many views. And I'd be like, I have a YouTube channel, this many subscribers. It's like, sorry, it says it on the page, but it doesn't apply to you. And it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then you see so many channels that get partnered that way. And I'm not saying they have something in common, but Twitch has it's inconsistent everything. If you're on the internet, you live on the most inconsistent state you can be. Like, who knows if YouTube's gonna go down tomorrow? Who knows if YouTube's gonna demonetize everything tomorrow? We don't know it, which, you know, kind of sucks in some way. But I at least understand the YouTube creators. They want to be open with their creators, whereas Twitch cares about the top, I don't know how many percent of creators, but everything below that, there is no consistency on their platform. And I would prefer, if you watch these streams and you're like, oh, I'd love to stream myself sometime, I could mine Nether Quartz for 85 minutes straight, or how many minutes we're going on for now? 86 minutes. Clock baited, checkmate. But if I can convince you to stream on a site, I would like it if you streamed on YouTube. It's better for you to stream on YouTube. And all these big Twitch partners who get, it's like Machinima. Back in the day, Machinima was a network for the wealthy that basically took from the rich to give, took from the poor to give to the rich. Yeah, that's an anti-Robin Hood. They had huge stars on huge CPM contracts, and then they took 60 or 40% off the smaller partners for a lifetime. They signed people up for lifetime contracts. And then we looked at that later and we said, oh god, that was crazy. It just hasn't happened with Twitch yet. I think it will. I think that's absurd. What about Mixer? Oh yeah, I like Mixer. I should stream on that. The only reason I don't is because if I stream on Mixer and don't check the chat, Mixer doesn't like that. Ah, okay, I'm getting out of there. Mixer doesn't like when you, as in the chat there, doesn't like being ignored. And getting both chats to run simultaneously. Honestly, enough, like, even when I do answer the chat there, people still ask, like, I bet he's not even reading this. And that drives me crazy. Again, I shouldn't make decisions based on that, but I do, because I'm awful. Onions are a type of apple. Is that true? Because onions are way tastier than apples, in my opinion. Gotta always add that, in my opinion. Actually, let's scoop out all the lava from the Nether while we're walking around, because there might be some Nether Quartz under there. That's my official opinion. Why do YouTubers look so different then, I imagine? Do you mean to Twitchers? Like, is there something different about the stream you're saying? Oh god, what just happened there? I have not seen that before. But yeah, so, fun fact to Toycat. Twitch is not a... When it comes to promoting things to your subscribers, kind of, by uploading videos to YouTube, I'm saying YouTube's a fun social media. And I think it is. When I tweet, I'm implicitly saying, you know, I think Twitter's cool that you can talk to people, etc. If I really hated, if I thought Instagram was bad for you, like, please don't Instagram, they literally fund the terrorists or the Jews, or I don't know which organization you're scared of or don't like, or think I'm scared of or don't like, but, like, I think it would be bad to use that thing. I think, especially as a YouTuber, it's important that I care about what I am doing. Personally, I mean, maybe I could be crazy. Maybe that's like a power thing. Like, you know, I bet your subscribers won't do this. But it's like, yeah, I'd rather do it that way. Also, cool thing about YouTube is your YouTube subscribers can see it. So Twitch has really, really, really bad discoverability. unless you're one of the biggest streams. YouTube, anyone can discover any stream. It's by the way, big thank you Super Squick Slash for the $1 super chat. So yeah, here's another pro tip. So if you're a small streamer, or if you're a big streamer like me, you might have come to this stream because it was recommended to you. I'm assuming, based on the 1,100 viewers, that some of you came to this stream because it was recommended. Would you agree with that, chat? If you would say that describes you, if you would say, yeah, I was recommended the stream, that's YouTube basically giving you discoverability. As well as showing the stream to people who want to see it, who are there every Thursday, because I stream every Thursday and Tuesday, 8 PM UK time. There, get that plug in. It also shows it to people who aren't, and a lot of those people are going to watch this one stream, be like, man, that Toy Cat guy spoke about Germany for like 5 minutes. He made that comment about 10 states in the US being the best states. We all know California is where the comic gulags are. But the thing is that, like, I think it's a fair opportunity if you at least get exposed to more people. Because if 1 million people have watched the Toy Cat video and none of them have subscribed, maybe I put out a bad video. Even if it's 10,000 to 1 or 100,000 to 1, that's still a pretty bad sign. But the fact that, like, one in every 50 or 100 or 500 people is a whole thing. So okay, I saw your rants about Twitch and talking about Machinima before. I'm scared I have sometimes. I guess there's only so many topics under the sun. Okay, you know what, chat? Your goal is to pick a topic I've never spoken about before, or at least you think I've never spoken about before, that you think is interesting. Just to make sure. They found the terrorist solution. Okay, you know, when there's big conspiracies are always about terrorists or Jews. It's just a fact. Like, the Middle East, the place we're all scared of, what exists in the Middle East? Oh man, that is not okay. Besides, this is gone downhill. See, that's the scary thing about talking live. Did Tukesh to mention bad people? I want to clarify. No, I said, like, if you are scared of me funding, like, as in, if you think, in the same way, okay, you know, I fund the Americans, all my money, I believe the YouTube earning, actually, no, wait, I'm technically importing, no, I'm exporting to America right now. YouTube pays me in US dollars from the US economy to the British economy. If you think that the British economy is evil, then by watching this stream, you are funding the British. But that's okay. I think it's okay to fund the British. Please do. Our economy needs it right now, you know. It's actually kind of weird to, like, again, when you think of economies, you think of, like, there's a man in a factory and he's doing this. But, like, tourism and internet services are, like, a bigger and bigger part of it. And it just gets confusing to work out, like, also topics. Imagine Dragons. I assume you mean the band, but I'm going to try and Imagine Dragons right now. So, like, there's a really big green dragon, and he's got, like, green claws, and he's got green eyes, and green ears, and a red nose. You didn't see that coming. High quality content with Toy Cat. Pepperoni, best pizza topping. Try and tell me I'm wrong. You literally can't. You try and say in your mouth right now, it's not the best pizza topping, and your mouth will just start freezing up because it's not. You know, you don't want to lie to me like that. But yeah, no, honestly, I think pepperoni. It's objectively the best pizza topping, right? Like, pepperoni sucks in every other setting I've ever tried it in. But you warm up pepperoni, you put it on a pizza. Put up your Christmas tree in November, yes or no? I'm a sad single 20-something-year-old male, so I don't have a Christmas tree. But okay, if you are someone who's gonna, big thank you, Photons GT. Topic: how would Earth be if Hunger Games was real? Do you mean if everyone? So I'm not familiar with the Hunger Games universe, but if everyone was placed in the center of the Earth and we were to fight, one person would. I guess I think it's in human nature to have problems with that scenario. So I'd like to believe something good would happen. I don't think that it would though. And pizza with no cheese, only pepperoni. Honestly, okay, cheese is the best topping, but if you don't count cheese as a top, if you have pizzas without cheese, then you know this conversation's going nowhere. It's like if you're on a first date with one and you're like, oh, so what are your interests? And she's like, I like to disembowel people when I first meet them on a date in a coffee shop at 11:54 p.m. And I like it when their name is Andrew. That's a fair thing for you to be like, let's stop talking. Thank you for this chat. It's been great. I'm gonna go and call my wife and kids. I guess you wouldn't be going on a date if you had a wife and kids. I'm gonna go and be anywhere that's not here. Thank you for this enlightening... I need to have like a nether chest. You know, whoever said my chests were unorganized, you're right, but I hate you still, so it's fine. Okay, let's work this out. Put that in there, put the soul sand in there. Gas tears. Yeah, you know, my inventory management definitely needs to go up a level. We don't teach the American Revolution to our children as it's insignificant. Yeah, no, I honestly think at this point, the American Revolution is just an identity building thing. Like, I think we can all agree, like, the UK on a date with wife and kids, cheating you. I'm sorry. I mean, it's not cheating, it's, what's being unfaithful in a marriage called? It's got a different term. Oh, man, I don't, what's it called when you cheat in a marriage? It's not just called, it's not cheating. It's got a whole fancy term. But anyway, I think you'll find it's technically that, not what I said. Oh, what you said. Look, I'm winning on a technicality here. Let me just accept that. Oh, gosh. Was that the blaze from down there? Oh, no, it's a different blaze. At least it knocked me out that way, rather than the bad way. So we just need to get a few more quartz, then go back and enchant another pickaxe. And then we'll also get some fireworks. Do your real wife and kids have a Christmas tree? So, just to clarify here, I'm going to say this, and then someone's going to say it, regardless of what I say here. I go to my family for Christmas, and they do have a Christmas tree. But I don't own a Christmas tree, because it'd be silly. It'd be for myself. Like, I'm not a holiday guy, you know? Like, honestly, I wish you could save birthdays. Like, the idea of your birthday being the same day every year is super inconvenient to me. I think what it should be is once a year, you get a token, and that token says, you get to do what you want today, and all your friends have to say, oh, I had another commitment, but it's your birthday. Oh, by the way, Pineapple's Gun Pizza, what do you mean? So, can someone ban Photon's GT from the chat? Clearly a troll. Either he's a troll, or he needs to go back to the mental hospital? I'm not sure what the correct thing would be here. But this isn't okay. You can't make bad jokes like that. It's not okay. Can anyone else believe they turned dirt from Minecraft into a real thing? Same as stone there. I think you'll find there's cave air in Minecraft, which is also a real thing. Okay, so we're gonna go to... Oh man, I have so much quartz. Like, it's cool that I've collected so much quartz, but it's also a bit weird. You missed some quartz. Also, pizza cat, pizza cat, pizza cat. I love the toy-catting pizza thing. Literally the best. Please talk about England's history. The problem is England has too much history. Like, every country, you can kind of agree like a cutoff point where it becomes ancient history versus present history. But the problem with the UK is, like, the fairest point to do that is still, like, you know, if you look at Egypt, the Egyptians are from Egypt, but they're not related to the current, you know, Islamic Brotherhood or whoever's in charge right now. You know, there's no direct link besides that they are people from Egypt. And, you know, that is a good link, I guess, but my point of this is just that, also, we got another pickaxe, how nice. Big thank you, Somewhat Strange, for the 99-cent super chat. Do appreciate it. Adultery, that's the one, adultery. Thank you, chat. Appreciate the saving. So yeah, if I was married and I went on a date with a woman, that'd be adultery. Thank you very much. See, now I'm the clever one again, because I know things. 1800s English history. But the thing is, because England has such a big history, there's honestly gaps in my knowledge. Like, even in school, they just have to pick a few important time periods and be like, I guess those will do. So, I know a bunch about King Henry VIII, because that's when England split off from Europe, basically. And I know a bunch about Victorian times. Not in terms of what we did in the world. That's never really discussed. But I know that, like, England was the first country... the UK... England. You can't say it. But the UK was the first country to build railroads and the first country to go through an industrial revolution. I was going to say revelation. An industrial, like, revelation, man. What if What if, like, we can be industrial now? Like, man, wouldn't that be crazy, man? But, let's go on affair. Adultery is having... Oh, yeah, no, it's an affair. You're right. Drake Day. Okay, you know what? I was wrong twice now. How about I just accept I'll never be right again? That might be what I have to do here. So, yeah, basically, so let's, we learn about Victorian times, and then we learn a little bit about World War II. And here's, here's something interesting to me. Every country learns about World War II differently, right? Because World War II is, like, the big event where the world was like, man, let's stop doing this. Like, let's try real hard this time not to have wars. It's gone pretty well so far. And basically, so every country, because this is the big defining moment where countries stop being able to, like, tell each other to, you know, go F off or whatever. Basically, in the US, World War II is taught as, oh yeah, so Europe fought for a bit or something, and then we went and saved them. Ah, silly Europeans. In Germany, it's taught as, oh yeah, so we were bad people that one time, and never again. This is why it's not okay to, you know, publicly be Nazis in Germany. In France, it's taught as, those darn sneaky Germans got one over on us, but then we, you know, the French resistance is taught very heavily in France. Like, oh yeah, we resisted for so long, etc., etc. Every country kind of learns their own thing. In Spain, it's like, what war? You know, that was a whole thing. And in Japan, it's like, so, there was a time period between 1939 and 1945. All records were lost. There's just a gap, and I'm sure it was fine during that time, but all records were lost. No one did anything. You know, nothing happened at all. There's just this. I'm looking at the history books. 1938 straight to 1946. I don't know what happened in that meantime. I think some nukes were probably dropped. Maybe. Who knows? I think we're anti-nuke because of that. But that's all. Whereas, and yeah, in Singapore, in Singapore we got abandoned by the British. Honestly, even though not abandoned, it's kind of funny. Because Singapore's story from World War II is like the saddest in my opinion. Because, like, even, you know, like it was called the, like, I don't know, the idea of losing it was literally unthinkable. Like, it was it was an impregnable fortress to defend all of Asia. Singapore was, and then so the idea was, okay, this is still my favorite thing to explain about World War II. So the British had a lot of colonies all over the world, and in particular, Singapore is a little island nation, but because it controls the straits under which most shipping goes, it was a very, very valuable island. So the British figured, okay, if you're going to invade this island, you're going to do it by sea, because the British owned the countries, like, all the way going up for, like, thousands of miles north. So it's like, okay, we're going to make this the most impregnable fortress. They split their fleet into two. Half of their fleet was stationed there, and, like, not the fleet, sorry, the guns and stuff. But it was like, it was a whole thing, right? They were like, we're going to do this. It's going to be a thing. They had guns everywhere. It was a huge thing. And then the Japanese just went from the north rather than the south by land. They just invaded all the thousands of miles above them. And then Singapore was lost. And that was the moment where it looked like, you know, oh, yep. So that's, you know, we've been defeated, and we're probably never going to have empire in Asia again. And funnily enough, the British lost all their colonies in Asia very shortly afterwards. Like that one defeat, what seems like a small thing because it's a small country, it's like a big thing. Also, yeah, so in the UK, the way we teach it is, you know, Hitler, he invaded Poland. Silly Hitler, shouldn't be invading Poland. They don't teach about the Western betrayal or anything, which it's, you know, in like in America, they should teach you. Oh yeah, we had an administration. They locked up Japanese people because the president was just distrustful of Japanese people. That should be a thing you teach. And in the same way, I think like, oh yeah, so during World War II, you know, Czechoslovakia had some of its territory carved up by the British and French as a way to hopefully not go to war. It was a popular move at the time, but looking back, it's like one of the worst things like the West did to the East or whatever. One of the reasons, it's not like look back at too poorly, but it's like, yeah, that's never taught. The UK just learns like, oh yeah, so at one point Hitler moved into Poland, big surprise to everyone, and then you know, he wanted to invade the UK a little bit afterwards. But even though we were entirely outmanned, outgunned, out-airshipped, etc., so the plan was, as I understand it, was like the Germans were going to invade the UK. But to invade the UK, you need to get your soldiers over there by boat. To get your boats over there, you need to have air support, because if you don't have air superiority, you can't have boat superiority. And it's like, British were just better at fighting planes. And there you go, fun fact. Oh, boom. Okay, fun facts to Toy Cat. Let's not talk about World War II too much, though. It's kind of like, the thing is, though, World War II, like, isn't it crazy? That same event, the same huge thing, it's not even 100 years old now. It's 80 to 75 years old, 75 to 80 years old. But every country learns it very slightly differently. And that always, in the same way that you can't speak to every human on Earth, because every person speaks a different language, every person learned a different sequence of events for the same event, right? Like, every single person, every single country knows a slightly different World War II. And, you know, I feel like you don't learn from it the same way, that way, in my opinion. I guess what we're going to do is we're going to enchant another pickaxe. I think this is my last one. Oh. Shall I enchant it even though it has a lot of its health missing? I guess I probably shouldn't. I should find some diamonds. Good thing I have some just over here. Let's take out another 15 diamonds. Let's just go all in on these pickaxes. I thought YouTubers didn't make you learn history. Sigh. History is the best thing about the internet. No, I think learning is a thing you should like, regardless. Like, a lot of people, like, especially myself, you learn in, you know, school learning is the worst because they force you to learn particular things and then they trip you up about it later. You don't learn because you like to, you learn because you have to. But I think it's worth saying that, like, hey, if you still don't like learning, pick a subject you like to learn about. Maybe you like art. Also, Fortune 2 is a bad enchantment. I think instead what we'll just do is we'll grab Unbreaking 1. Spend the 9 levels or whatever it costs. Just put that somewhere else. Call it a dud. And then grab another one. And then use some of this. In fact, probably another stack of this. To make this happen easier. Get that XP back and try it again. You could probably make a channel like Vsauce or something like that. I like having the secondary educational channel because I really think that knowledge is power. In Poland, we're taught most about Hitler's invasion of Poland and why the Nazis did to Poles. That's pretty much it. What the Nazis did to Poles. Yeah, it's worth mentioning that, like, the moment Poland was so the way I like to summarize Polish history is like multiple times in history, despite being a powerful state, two slightly more powerful states decided to just gobble up Poland, which sounds like an exaggeration, but that's literally just what happened a few times. And I guess once you've been, conquered, the resistance can be a story, but it's usually not the same way, and everything else is. I know it's weird, right? It's weird. I'm heading out. Sleep well. Thank you very much, Leanne, for coming along and moderating. Do appreciate it. Let's hope we get something better here. It's Fortune 2 again. You know, we're just gonna go for it. Hope it has also Unbreaking. Okay, efficiency. I can combine it with Unbreaking probably. Make a better pickaxe. Yeah, we have an Unbreaking pickaxe in here somewhere, right? Unbreaking 3 with nothing else on it. Yeah, just Unbreaking 3. Combine these things together. It can't be too expensive. I say now. Oh, that's a big expense. Oh, and I just lost 2 pickaxes from the ordeal too. Yeah, that was a bad deal. That was a bad deal. I should have used them up a bit first. It's like in Scotland we're taught about Battle of Bannockburn. I literally do not know what that is. I guess because in each of the countries in the UK they like Bannockburn. The Battle of Bannockburn in 1314 was a significant Scottish victory for First War of Scottish Independence. How did that one go? Sorry, I'm being too sarcastic. Oh, it was a war where the Scottish beat the Old English. Good on you, Scotland. Sarcastic. Good on you. Proud of you, friends. Keep it up. It's okay, you did talk about how Russia learns about them too. I honestly don't know. I'd love to. If you're Russian, you're probably not watching this video. But I'd be fascinated to learn how they learn about it. Because, like, Russia is the country most destroyed by World War II. Because, so Russia was a little bit authoritarian communist at the time. Really bad combination, by the way. Not a fan. And because of that, you know, basically, inhumane but tactical orders were given that led to lots and lots and lots and lots of deaths. So many deaths. You know, in Russia, the war's really about being backstabbed and having to defend the motherland or whatever. Yeah, the motherland. There you go. The fatherland. Actually, you know, is it the motherland or the fatherland? Because I know the fatherland is also a term, but when do you use that? Not a fan. Can I cite this in my history coursework? You totally should. Yeah, you know, if you want to ever, I mean, it's the simplest way to describe it, right? Like, even communists are pretty like, ooh, not that type of communism though. Maybe a better type. You know, we'll make a better type of communism that doesn't lead to millions starving and eating each other. Because you know, you get too authoritarian and then you kind of you lose a lot of the key benefits. Especially like 2018 youths, right? Like we've all learned that, like, hey, if the government takes everything away from you, you know, it's fine if everyone takes everything away from each other. There's some, you know, beautiful theories of communism, but all the practices lead to that. And, anyway, let's not talk communism. You know, World War II was already a bit of a weird subject, right? Like, hey, let's mine some Nether Quartz, and also let's do this. Also, mining Nether Quartz for 85 minutes. Started streaming 109 minutes ago. You just got clock baited. High-tech computer cake. Checkmate. But let's move on. Let's move on from history because like I find it fascinating. But like again, World War II is such a heavy subject, right? Like it's never like, oh hey, let's have a chill conversation about World War II. It's such a big one because it defines so much of the modern world. Like have you ever thought about why you like or dislike, you know, insert country here? Probably got some root in or just after World War II. What about pickles, Toy Cat? I swear to God, people don't believe me when I say this, but I like pickles so much. The doctor has told me multiple times, chill on those pickles. So I had a friend who worked at Subway once, and we found a loophole. I don't know if it was a loophole or what, but it was when he was just about to quit anyway. But he could do this anytime he wanted to. He was sure of it. At Subway, they have to give you as many vegetables as you ask for. And you better believe that meant I was saying pickles, 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 pickles. You can ask for pickles over and over again, and they just have to keep throwing them on there. And I like pickles too. They're so good. Pickles are, I don't know if pickles are even healthy on any level. Because I know they're salty, but like, is there fiber in there? I don't know. I don't care. I don't eat pickles because they're a health food. They taste delicious. I don't know what it is about vinegar and cucumber, but my God, you have a vegetable and or fruit, legume? I don't even know what it is. So when do you think Infinite Worlds coming to PlayStation 4? If you want Infinite Worlds, if that's your biggest feature, then Bedrock coming to PlayStation is the thing you should be excited for. Will that happen? Maybe. Again, right now, I want to wait till there's news to talk about it again. But if the PlayStation 5 comes out first, then maybe they'll just launch it there. I think that's a real possibility at this point. Because, okay, so, chat, you're going to have to let me know on this one. Has crossplay come to any game that isn't Fortnite on the PlayStation 4 yet? Because technically it's in beta right now. But as soon as other games start doing it, that's when the question starts to become less theoretical and more real, you know? Also, Marcus, Kit Kat should be one of the OG of Toy Cat streams. I think Kit Kat's might be the longest Toy Cat viewer that's also still regularly in streams. I could be wrong about that. Because, I mean, I guess, like, defining regularly is hard, like, because it's been years. But, like, it was, like, 2013 or 14 or something, and Kit Kats was showing up, saying hi. I remember, actually, it was, like, some of those old school, like, Skywars or whatever streams. It's been some time. It's been some time. I have no idea how I stumbled on your video, because it was recommended and I love history, so I stayed watching. Know nothing about Fortnite. Maybe that's what I should just do. Just, you know, using mining Nether Quartz as an opportunity to talk about history for a bit. I mean, again, the cool thing about history is just how, oh gosh, we almost killed ourselves. I can describe multiple points during the stream, I guess. But, yeah, Yeah, I think history is fascinating. Like every single part of every country. Everything you believe about your country comes from history, which is cool in my opinion. I think that's actually kind of scary also. Like, you know how you just assume like, oh yeah, so, you know, Americans, we are this, that, that, and British people, we are this, that, that. French people are that, that, this. And it's like, that comes from stereotypes and this and that, and, you know, it spreads surprisingly well. It's interesting, it's interesting. So, Kat, watching Gus attempt to murder you while you have a one-sided intellectual discussion, it's so engaging, lol. See, I don't even know if that's sarcasm or not. I genuinely have no clue. My sarcasmometer, at this point, we've just gone too far past the point that nothing makes sense anymore. Do you want to talk about the Titanic some more? I can talk about the Titanic all day. Did you know that, if you were on the Titanic... Again, this makes... Okay, let me tell you about the thing... my most controversial opinion about the Titanic. Oh my god, that's a sentence I didn't figure I'd ever say. But on the Titanic, there were 3 classes. There was first class, second class, and third class. So first, for one of the reasons, again, this isn't often said because you can kind of pick the narrative in this. But the 3 classes on the Titanic, first, second, third, had to be separated by US immigration law. It was something about diseases. If you were in third class, statistically, you were more likely to have deadly diseases the US didn't want. Whereas if you're in first class, you're probably healthy because, you know, like, you're not... It's kind of like the thing, like, you're not... If you sneak into America via, you know, like, I don't know, insert airline you don't like here, in economy, higher chance than if you fly first class with... I don't know, what's a nice airline's first class? Like United, or... Actually, wait, people don't like United. Like you know, an Air France, or a Japan Airlines. You know, Japan Airlines, first class passengers, probably not sneaking into the US. But, those, you know, like, I don't know. I can't pick of a low-quality airline. But you get the point. In the same way, Titanic had to be, Titanic had to segregate the passengers by US immigration law. And those... If they hadn't had those, forced, like... They were doors that couldn't be opened. They were, like, sealed shut. If those doors weren't sealed shut, more third-class passengers would have lived. So, in a way, the US indirectly killed... You know, a fun fact about that. US immigration law literally killed people on the Titanic. Again, I think it's a fair law back in the 1910s. Who knows how all of that stuff works. Also, I bet you won't notice this comment. Checkmate, Nikolai Kusesnov. If you're actually from Russia, tell me how they taught World War II, Nikolai. But yeah, so the thing about the Titanic is, if you were in first class, you had an over 50% chance of surviving. If you were in third class, you had an 87% chance of dying. Which means that basically your chance of living went up by about, what is that, like 8 times? 50% versus 87%. 4 times or so. Your chance of living went up so much if you paid for a first class ticket. And a part of me, okay, again, you can hate me for this, a part of me says, actually, you know, that makes sense. Like, if you have to get people off the Titanic, right? How do you sort that? Okay, women and children first, but that only gets you so far. Whoever gets there first, okay, sure. But, you know, if you could decide who gets the lifeboats first, maybe, okay, this is the most, like, classist thing ever, right? But, like, maybe you should, if you're wealthy on average, you know, your loss is going to be slightly worse. Not to, like, people. Probably not. It probably doesn't matter to people if you die if you're rich. Like, most rich people don't have friends or family or anyone that cares about them. But, like, they've got... The founders of, like, Macy, I want to say, a US senator, both died. People like that, you know? You know? I'm just saying. There you go. Controversial opinions of Toy Cat. I also think... Okay, this is another one. The death rate for dogs was lower than the death rate for third-class passengers. And it's like, ooh, you know what, that is a whole thing. The icebergs did nothing wrong. You know, that's a fair thing. So, what are you going to do with all the quartz? Good question. We'll work it out when we get to it. That's a classist. I'm rich and I buy friends every day. I thought that was going somewhere different. You got me good there. You got me good. I'm mining so much Nether Quartz, by the way. More than I ever figured I could mine. So, Kat, do you watch other YouTubers? If so, who? I watch a lot of YouTubers. Not many Minecraft YouTubers, because a lot of them, you know, like, they don't aim at my age group demographic. Like I make YouTube videos I'd like to watch, but a lot of YouTubers aren't the same way, I find. With a few exceptions. I watch a few YouTubers, of course, in the gaming and Minecraft space. It's just not many. I watch a lot of... I watch like a weird mixture of like news and education. Subscribing to too much news on YouTube just makes you like sad. In fact, I think the news being 24 hours, controversial opinion of Toycat, I think the news should not be 24 hours. I think there should be a set number of hours in the day. Once an hour, all the news should come out. Or once every 3 hours, the news should come out, unless it's literally urgent. If your country is under attack right now and you need to get to shelter, maybe that's worthwhile 24-hour news. But the thing is, most people, if you shared a news story saying UK is under invasion right now, get to safety right now, it'd be like Deborah from Derby says, "Oh, I reckon this is a bit of the old fake news, eh?" And it's like, man, that is like it's hard to say what's legit and what's not, because so we've used up all the authority we built up for news, and we've used it all on like pretend news and fake news and all that sort of stuff. I know, controversial opinion, I would like it if the news was a once every like 3-hour event. Imagine if it was like, oh, it's 22:06 right now. In 54 minutes, there's gonna be another news batch release. Like, oh, what are we gonna learn? Maybe Japan was invaded. Maybe, I don't know what it'd be, but I would be intrigued to learn about the news that way. It would be better. It'd be better. If it wasn't 24 hours, the US can talk about its most recent shooting. So one of the few subjects I'm going to say is off limits is going to be school shootings. Just because. In the US, let me say the one thing that no one ever talks about, because it's the news that talks about it and sets the agenda. So lots of countries have guns and don't have a school shooting, every 3 days? And the biggest is and even countries with not as many guns don't have just slightly less school shootings. And it's because you plaster the name and face on the news for days. For days. Then you turn it into a big debate. That one person, whichever school shooter is of the day, has this huge influence. And it's like, don't talk. There's psychology. Like, the news talking about it, someone must know that they are directly causing it. But it's like, oh, other networks are already reporting. Might as well report on that. It's like, my God. I don't understand how, in America, there are boycott movements for the most absurd, asinine things, but people are being killed by your news networks on a regular basis, and people are still like, oh, but did you hear? The host of this show, slightly said something wrong about this person, and they used words we didn't like. It's like, but how can you not boycott? Okay, whatever. That's exactly it. Thanks, Click. Like, the fact that people turn it into such a huge argument about whatever, I'm sure if you can get rid of all guns, that is how you can solve it too. But also maybe the media thing, isn't that kind of, I think that's kind of clever though, in a way, that by starting a debate that doesn't involve you, no one ever talks about how that can be a thing. It's like if, okay, so, I can't think of some of the thing. Anyway, I said it, I spoke about it. I spoke about the thing I said I didn't want to speak about, and everyone's going crazy. So, Toycat, have you ever noticed how you have an accent to foreigners, but it's normal to everyone around you? I actually have it's actually the reverse of me now. To foreigners, I sound just about normal, like sometimes British, sometimes wherever you're from. But to people around me, a lot of people start saying I'm American now. Like, it's happened twice, and now I just give up. I'm from America, apparently, as far as people around me are concerned. I'm actually, a lot of the times, I get conflicted, because so much of the media I consume, as in TV shows and YouTubers, are American. I now know both the pronunciations for every big word. It's really annoying. Oh, in the store, I bought some dumplings and it's beef riagetti or something today. It was reduced. It was £1.75 for a very expensive, a very fancy looking meal, and it had parmesan in it. But I've now heard enough, I think I know every single American variant of where you say English words, like aluminium or aluminum, parmesan or parmesan, and it's like, oh my God, where's that come from, So I'm gonna try and keep, I'm gonna stay off the gun thing as far as I can. I accidentally did it. I was like, this is why I don't want to talk about this, But side note, talking about it makes it worse, and everyone spoke about it, and it's like, I made it worse. I suck. You know, I've got to just admit that. How are you American? In what way is that a clearly British man and American? So it's worth noting, I guess, compared to British people. I think it must be like some words that trick me that way. You've honestly taught me a lot more in this live stream than I've learned at school today. I sometimes, whenever people are like, oh yeah, I learned some things, what's like a key thing you can learn? I'm always like, what's the most important one piece of knowledge I can give or whatever? And if there's one thing you can also learn, I would say it's that every single country has a slightly different view of the world. And rather than assuming that every country but yours is wrong, or even that there's one true country and it's not yours, a lot of people now are in the habit of saying, oh, my country sucks. Country that we're up against is the best. You know, like, oh, I really like the way they're doing things in Saudi Arabia. A really nice society over there. It's like, no. You know, like, that's a big thing. I would say every country has their own view of the world that's partly formed by their location, partly formed by their history, and partly formed by their current interests. And when you realize that, and you realize that every version of history is slightly different, you can start to, like, learn a bit more about major events, I think. Fun facts and something, yeah. Do you like reading? What's your favorite book if you have one? I really liked reading when I was younger. Like, I loved reading. You know, fiction. Like, I read Enid Blyton, if you're familiar with her. She's a British author, I think. Like, Faraway Tree, Magic Chair? Yeah, Faraway Tree, and there's a magic chair in there as well. They're basically the same concept, like, going somewhere, like a magic land where something's a bit different. What if you went to a land where everyone was made of metal? And it's like, oh, then you'd find a friend there. And they do find a friend there. What if you went to a land where everything was made of food? Well then, you know, eating things would be rude because everything's food. Like, imagine if someone just ate your front door. Like, imagine someone from a universe where plastic is like a delicacy, like, pops into this universe, eats your front door. You'd be like, man, that's my front door. You know how much those cost? Like, do you know how long it takes to get a front door? And you just ate mine, dude. You know, I like the interesting questions that come from something like that. But yeah, as far as reading as an adult, though, I don't actually read as much as I wish I did. Oh, I don't need either of these. I don't read as much as I wish I did. Honestly, the internet kind of gives everyone ADD a bit, right? Like, I can't... Everything I do for like 20 minutes at a time. I would charge for eating my front door. Yeah, I'd be like, man, like, that's how I get in and out of my house. What? Now burglars can just get in here because of you. You had to eat the plastic. There's plastic everywhere around here. You ate this. You know, like, buy your own plastic. You know you can buy plastic at the store in this unit. Oh wait, actually, whatever. You get the point though. I like reading physical books, but it's expensive. So okay. Pro tips of Toy Cat. I do not condone piracy in general. Especially book piracy feels meanest. But I would say, you know how the library allows you to read books for free? You can kind of justify in the same way, like, books are very easy to pirate if you know what to do. Like, even just Google searching book and then PDF, for a lot of books will just come up with a free way to download the book. It's like how in the old days you used to be able to just watch movies on YouTube. Like, oh yeah, there would just be movies uploaded in their entireties on YouTube. And it's like, oh, okay then. I guess, fair enough. And in a similar vein to that, it's very easy to pirate books. YouTube ruined my attention span. I can't read books now because they're not fulfilling enough. Yeah, I'd say it's roughly the same for me. A thing I've done is, actually, okay, fun fact to Toy Cat. So your brain is conditioned when you open your phone to do whatever you immediately do. So, like, let's say you go on Reddit. I read a lot of Reddit, which is technically reading, but it's reading questionable opinions about, from definitely not experts on... You know, and long story short, so I do a lot more Reddit than I should. So what I do every now and then is I move Reddit around so my thumb taps on a blank spot on the screen. Or sometimes, okay, this is my pro tip to you. If you're on Twitter too much, for instance, replace your Twitter app with the Amazon Kindle app. Is it Amazon Kindle? It's called Amazon... Yeah, it's called the Kindle app. Oh, you can't see anything. But, like, so then it loads up a book or whatever, and then you'll start reading by accident. Because, like, I'm fascinated by the book. It's just after 2 minutes. hasn't re-peaked my excitement, you know? Because, again, ADD generation or something like that. But yeah, that's my pro tip. I've been reading a lot about economics recently, though. Like, not even economics, like psychology, I should say, which is vaguely economically related. Because I think I keep having to move my headphone into my ear because it's like I've got the wrong headphone in the wrong ear. I'll just wrap it around. There's these little things, make it easier. So how are you? What are you spending my bottle of spaghetti? This is the delicious spicy boy. Spicy spaghetti, maybe? Can you enable the Nether, your Please Grief server? Because there are some people trapped on that. You can't enable the Nether on an old-size world. Back when there was old-size worlds, there weren't Nethers. I'm sorry. I know there's lots of people trapped there, but there's nothing I can do about it right now until much later. At least. So, Minecraft brings me back to the good old days. Indeed it does. But like, I think the fact, if you've been watching a lot of this live stream, I don't know how long you've been watching this for. Let's assume you've been watching for several minutes at least. The average video duration is apparently 1 minute and 26 seconds, so never mind. But if you've been watching for more than like 20 minutes, that's attention span. Like, we've jumped from topic to topic. Like, I was talking about the Titanic 20 seconds ago. Are you happy our generation's becoming stupider? I think we're the smartest generation around. Like I said earlier, you can get any piece of knowledge you want. Like, I just learned about the Titanic in a morning. I was meant to be working on a video. But I was like, I'll read about the Titanic first. Wow, the Californian was right there and it didn't intercept. And it's like, oh wow, we've got transcripts from when the Titanic went down. These sure are sad. Oh wow, here's a literal, like 2-hour video of it, etc. I think it's really easy to learn, and I think people are getting smarter in general. I think that's just our attention spans are going down, which is a problem. I think it's a problem we're hopefully gonna fix. But yeah, attention spans down. But I think smartness up. Controversial opinion, I prefer your second channel geography videos, which is how I found your channel. I didn't realize you were on Minecraft YouTube for like 4 months. Yeah, a lot of people are on that same boat, which I think it's an opinion I accept. A part of me likes it just because it like proves that the second channel doesn't just ride on the coattails of this one, It's cool to have 2 distinct channels, Oh, hey there, Magma Cube friend. I hate these guys so much. So much, I swear. Like, more than most things. But yeah, I find that fine. But yeah, it's so easy to learn about anything. Let me tell you the last 5 things I read about, learned about. That you just wouldn't have been able to. Going to a library to learn about these subjects would have taken half a day each. So I was reading recently. Let's find out what I was reading about. The Caledonian Sleeper Train. Oh, I was going to make a video on sleeper trains. So I was checking if the Caledonian Sleeper was its own thing. I read it. I learned what string theory was. Again, I don't have a fundamental understanding of it. But I was like, what is string theory? You hear it so much. What is it? I learned the basics of string theory. How do you learn that without having a friend that knows? I learned about the European Union Customs Union because I was curious about, Turkey's in the EU Custom Union, but it's like not really. And I was like, let's settle this once and for all. Like, is Switzerland in it? I think so, but I'm not sure. I figure let's settle all these questions I have in my head. How would you find a book on the EU Customs Union? Is that possible? Is there such a book that exists? Like, I'm not sure there is. I think you gotta find an encyclopedia. I don't even know. The demographics of Belarus and Chile, the country. Like, reading a book about Chile is probably quite easy. But I did it while I was on a plane. Back from Italy, actually. Fun fact about Chile, actually. So, I've always been curious about why Chile looks the way it does on a map. It's like... Oh, by the way, I knew about string theory. Oh, wow. You're scientific. The concept just, like... I don't say it blows my mind, but it's like, what even... understanding the words that describe string theory is pretty complex. But I guess you're a... I think that's a impressive thing to know. So yeah, Chile, it looks super weird. The reason for that is because it's bounded by mountains, but it meant that it was like one of Spain's like most valuable like landing points because it could never really be invaded. Once it was taken, it was kind of like set, and it's on like the healthy side of the continent. I don't know, kind of a fun thing. The EU Customs Union probably didn't exist very long before the internet. That's probably true, actually, I guess. It's only, I guess, but the internet's only been good the last like 15 years, you know. Like there was an internet when I was 4. My stepdad at the time, he never, you know, can we talk about, you know, more toy cat like abuse from childhood stories? Like my brother was taught about the internet like directly, and then like by the time I got to that age, I don't know if my parents' relationship was just faltering or whatever, but like it was like, oh, you know what, just your brother will teach you or something. Because like when you're the oldest son, you're like taught, you know, your parents are like excited to try something new, but doing something for the second time, you only do if you liked it the first time. So there's a lot of things that as the younger child you just don't get to experience. You know, I'm just saying, if you have 2 children, just remember, it's sad. Sweden has an ability and doesn't want peasants taking royal family names. Did you hear about the story recently? I think it was like a Southwest employee mocked someone for having the name ABCDE. And that's a real name you can have. Absidy. Who names their child? I want to know, like, because, you know, apparently they got in real trouble because they started mocking the child, or mocking the parent for naming the child that. But isn't there a part of you that goes, man, who names their child ABCDE? Like, even when I'm playing games, these days, I try not to do the old AAAA or, you know, ABCDE, because that's a lazy way to name a character in a video game. Imagine releasing your son. Imagine if your son was literally called Absidy. Yeah, ABCDE. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't reflect very well on. It doesn't send the best message out, does it? I have a friend who named her daughter Absidy. I don't get it. It looks like he just ran out of like steam halfway through the name. I know that it might have a real strong meaning, but I'm just saying, you know, as far as list of solid names goes, I'm kind of okay now with names like, oh yeah, name your daughter Fortune because then she'll get rich. Name your daughter Good Luck or Luck because then she'll be really lucky. It's ridiculous, but at least it shows you had a lot of thought. However, you name your son or daughter A-A-A-A-B. Then what I'm going to assume, whether it's right or wrong, because names are a first impression. You can't have names with too much meaning that isn't explained by the first impression. It's like my face, you know. I can't. When you look at my face, you immediately assume something about me, and I can maybe one day undo that. But if I don't want you to have that impression, I've got to have a different face. You know, get a plastic surgery. Yeah, plastic surgery. So that you're not asking questions like, hey, what's the guy from Stranger Things doing making internet videos? Like, it's just a fact. You know, I can tell you that you shouldn't, and maybe you shouldn't, and maybe I'm right about that. But I also think, like, you know, it's a thing. Name your kid the contra code. What, down, down, up, up, left, right, A-B start. I wish you could name a child that. Just give him, like, so his first name is down, his second name is down, third name up, fourth name up, fifth name right. Imagine putting that on your passport application. So, first name, up, down, middle names, if any, down, down, up, right. And then they, like, put it in their system, and then it, like, causes it to create the Konami code. I imagine all immigration things are a thing. Where at in the US do you live, says Gawandine. I know you did a winking face, but, like, I'm going to use this as part of my evidence that some people think I sound American. Do you know binary code? I mean, everyone knows binary, right? It's a lot of zeros and ones. Okay, so the thing about binary is a lot of, like, it's true that everything is transmitted in zeros and ones, but when people say it like that, you actually lose what it actually means. So, you know, binary of Toy Cat, real quick. So, everything can be transmitted in zeros and ones because it's a base 2 language. It's basically converting everything into a number, except making that number base 2. So instead of counting to 10, then resetting, you count to 2, then you reset. So 3 is 1, 0, because you've reached the end of 2. And long story short, there we go, right? So that's why binary is used. It's just a base 2 system. The reason we use binary is because when we first started computers, the easiest way to do this whole thing was we used electrical cables where you could send a signal or you could not send a signal, electricity through the wire. But it's not actually sending a signal or not sending a signal. It's sending a weak signal or sending a strong signal. It's not necessarily clear what it is on that spectrum. You know, you can send an analog signal, but it's not precise. Whereas if you send a binary 0 or none, like is it closer to none or close to full power, that's easy enough to do. So when people say binary, like, oh, Finding Nemo, one of my music teacher taught me this, and I still hate him for this to this day. Finding Nemo, someone made that entirely in zeros and ones. No. People make things in, you know, analog formats or whatever formats. Then you turn it into a stream of ons and offs. You know, if you take the number 1,060,000, you can turn that into a very long binary number, and then you transmit it. If you have a lot of those numbers, you know, like billions, trillions, then you can use that to transmit movies or anything like that. There you go. Fun fact, it's like it. Don't know why that drives me crazy, but it kind of does. Whereas in modern days, by the way, we use light. Like, all the light being on is a 1, the light being off is a 0. That's what fiber optic is. Oh, God! I'm alive. Oh, there's a lot of that too. We're good. If you had any stupid feature into Minecraft, what would it be? Can I remove gravel instead of adding a feature? I think I'd like to do that instead. It's like it has an incredibly breadth knowledge. You can learn about history, geopolitics, physics, and computer science. Like, wow. I mean, everyone knows about a lot of things, right? Everyone, like... It's because I'm not talking about the things I don't know about. If you ask me, so Toycat, what's the difference between an onion and a potato? I'd be like, potatoes scare me, and onions are tasty. They're both pretty good vegetables, though. You know, I don't know much about a lot of things. It's just when I care about something, I care about it a lot. But I think that's true for most people. Like, most people don't know the majority of the things they're talking about. Oh, sorry, most people don't know the majority of things. It's just I like. There's a very specific style I like. I like to call it fun facts. You know, I like fun facts. So that's what I mostly talk about. Also, I finally made a live stream, says King Blobby 1233. I think we're near the end of this live stream. We went a little bit over time. How many minutes are we at? Like 140. Let's try and go for double what we were gonna go for. 170 minutes. Just I think that's beautiful. That's perfect clickbaiting. You need to start a podcast, says Ryan Mickelwaite. I've actually considered a podcast a few times now. And I guess there's no particularly great reason why I shouldn't. It's just, how do I put this? The reason I don't have a podcast is just because I like everything doing on YouTube. I like having this whole kind of you know, this thing. It's free to watch. It's easy to watch. Yeah, you know, like if you like it, YouTube will hopefully send it to you, etc., etc., etc. But doing a podcast on YouTube and having the podcast in the same way that this stream has somehow reached a bunch of new people, probably because, you know, we made the joke in the title, like literally just mining quartz for views or whatever. But the fact that the fact that podcasts can't get that same discoverability, like if you're gonna watch a podcast on YouTube, it's probably a podcast you already watch. That indicates a problem to me. I'm wasting so many diamonds today as well, just on these enchantments, but it's worth it. Probably. I guess that's in the eye of the beholder, but... let's make a couple of shovels. Let's enchant them both. Oh, that's all of my enchanting gear out. And let's just hope we get, like, efficiency on breaking, etc. So, fortune is really bad shovel enchantment. Fortune and efficiency, no thank you. Yay! We got another perfect shovel. Or close to perfect. That's all that matters right now. Then we'll throw the dud shovel in there. But yeah, I've got literally 2 shovels that are exactly the same now. Just with different orders of enchantments. But that's fine with me. So we'll throw this one in. We need to sort out this chest, by the way. I know it's a mess. Should I start enchanting tridents next? Yeah, actually, I'll enchant some tridents. Like, can you enchant tridents? I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah, you can. We'll enchant some tridents. If I've got them anyway. I might as well. Whew. So, Jeb's cat did the orders for the gasp, fun fact. I believe it was actually C418's cat. Yeah, fun facts. Know about Minecraft as well. Who'd have figured Toycat knows things about... No, wait, Toycat plays Minecraft? Wow, this is a revelation to me. Been sub since TU15. What actually was TU15? Honestly, I remember the first, like, 10 title updates. And then some of the major ones, like... I remember title update 49 was a big one. And 35, I think, was big. But I've stopped remembering which each title update was. You know, like, in terms of specific features. Do you use the dupe glitch? I never duplicate because it defeats the point of survival Minecraft. Like, if you want to duplicate, just play creative. Just be honest with yourself. That like, oh yeah, so you know, it's a form of cheating, but like you're only cheating yourself, and it's okay to cheat yourself, as many people have learned. So I'm gonna throw some stuff in there. Don't question why I have so much beef, by the way. Video will come out and explain that. Also, all these shulker boxes, it'll all make sense in a future video. So, is this entertaining? I think so. But I mean, I also thought that you know, whatever we were talking about before, the Titanic sinking was worth a whole morning of knowledge. But you know, I think one of the things that we probably don't encourage enough is learning a little bit about everything, but then specializing. You know, like, I feel like, I don't know how you teach general knowledge. I guess fun facts are basically that, right? Like, hey, you know how this stream is all about, you know, apparently history, Minecraft, a little bit of geopolitics, a little bit of computer science in there. But did you know that tomatoes are both a fruit and a vegetable? Like, everyone always says, oh, tomatoes are a fruit, tomatoes are a vegetable. Or, oh, it might be peppers. But the thing is that fruit is a fruit is a culinary term, and pepper is, vegetable is a horticultural term. You know, something that grows from the ground or whatever. I think I got that mixed up, honestly. But, like, you know, like, just, everyone learns fun facts over time, but they're just not usually right. But if everyone learns, like, a little bit of stuff like that, and then we can all know some stuff. It's just I believe most school systems want to teach a country the same stuff, so we all have a common base. Everyone in the UK knows about Henry VIII and his wives. Oh, in fact, okay, if you're from the UK, you know this one, right? Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. The 6 wives Henry VIII had, and how he killed them, or how they left him. Except the last one, he survived, as you might guess. But, like, everyone knows that, but, like, you don't know. But, like, Henry VIII was, like, pretty adulterous. Like, it was just a known thing that he had affairs. You know, like, and that's fine. You're the king. Have affairs, I guess. Wow, almost 1,000 years. Yeah, it's awesome. But, you know, like, there's so many, like, you know, niche facts out there. But everyone knows the same things, you know. What is it? The thing is the powerhouse of the cell. What actually is the power? You know, I honestly don't know. How about, chat, you tell me what the powerhouse of the cell is? Because I don't know, and it's very useful and comes up on a regular basis. It's the myopia of the oh, whatever. I learned it, and everyone's learned it. We all know the same stuff, right? And that's something I've always thought, like, you know, that'd be redundant. Wouldn't it be cool if you learned a bunch of stuff, and then other people learned a bunch of stuff, and then there was, like, some overlap, but it didn't go all the way? I love speaking to my friend who has a history degree, because he just knows things, man. And I'm like, so there's just a gap in my knowledge between the mitochondria. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. That's the one. I know what the powerhouse of the cell is, but I don't know how to do taxes and maintain a mortgage. That's another one, actually. Yeah, they're pretty key things. Okay, you know, okay, I've been thinking about this one a lot. So everyone all agrees that school should teach you taxes and mortgages, like learning how to do mortgages. Like I think I was 20-ish when I was first. I might be younger, but like learning to deal with that is such a nightmare at any age. And I'm just like, so there's ratios and there's this and there's that and there's mortgage fees and there's so many things you have to learn. It's near impossible for most people, basically. And I was thinking about this recently because everyone agrees it should be taught in schools, but we don't teach it in schools. I think it's got to be some form of like classism thing that, like, you know, if everyone learns that stuff, then because one of the things that you can use to like make yourself most people don't need to know how to pay taxes, for instance, at least in the UK. I don't know how it works elsewhere. I think it's important to know that there are taxes and that you pay them and how they're paid, etc. Makes a more informed electorate. But you don't need to pay them. Same with a mortgage. Most people don't get mortgages. It's like a wealthy person's thing now. And most people who go to school, especially public school, right, like, aren't going to be wealthy. Just like on a statistical basis, you know, like being wealthy implies being at least higher than the average by some amount. And that's why I thought, like, that's the whole thing. Can we talk about Minecraft? Too much science. Okay, let's back it down, boys. We got, Moose Respect telling us back to Minecraft. Let's do it. So, you guys hyped about 1.14? We should do a little bit of Minecraft talk. So, if you've watched my snapshot video, you should be hyped for 1.14. If at this point you've seen the snapshot videos, you're still not hyped for 1.14, I don't believe you've been watching them right. I think you've been going to sleep while you've been watching those videos. And in which case, shame on you. Have you ever tried staying awake? But no, I don't know what that person got for that. But no, I'm actually super hyped about the new crafting things. Because they seem to be pretty easy to craft. Like, if you look at the grindstone, it takes a stone slab. It's really, really easy. And I think... But the one thing they need to do is every tool needs to have a new functionality. Like, it sucks that unlike in other platforms, you can't instantly combine two things together. But in exchange, there's now a proper disenchant function, and you get XP. You know, it's a trade-off. I hope every single tool does that. Like, oh, if you craft at the fletching table, you get more arrows than you did before. I'd really like that, personally. They should teach us how to fight. I wish that schools could actually stop kids from fighting each other. Like, it always used to be this kind of just known secret that, like, oh yeah, get into a fight at school, and, you know what, someone, you know, like, whoever's parents complain the most, they're the ones that don't get in trouble. You know, like, it's something like, oh yeah, we have to make sure that everyone gets in trouble with this whole thing. I remember, okay, so I got into a fight once. It was a ridiculous one, if I'm being honest, but a dude randomly started, actually, you know, this was one of the few times in my life I have been involved in a fight and I was in the wrong. But only partially in the wrong. So anyway, we get into a fight, and during said fight, his glasses fall off, and I guess, like, kids' glasses are expensive. And, like, the school does this whole process to try and work out, like, so, did you knock them off, or, like, you know, like, what was the deal with that? Like, I don't think he knocked his own ones off. And I had to be like, I have no clue. No idea what's going on there. I got into a lot of fights. It should be ideal that we don't get into a lot of fights, because, like, having an aggressive personality be validated. Because, like, if you, you know, like, no matter what people say, no matter what the punishments are, being involved in a fight at school is, like, good for your, I don't know, not your reputation, but, like, people are less inclined to mess with someone that's shown that, like, if you mess with them, you get punched, you know? Which is, anyway, so going back to Minecraft. I said we do it. So, I like the Nether Quartz texture. Oh gosh. Let's try and get some Minecraft talk going on here. I'm hyped about the new villages, actually. Like, as someone who likes seeds a lot, I kind of retired from the whole Seed Sunday game a little bit, besides last week's seed and this week's one. But I'm excited that now every seed will feel more random. One of the things about console you don't appreciate till you leave the atmosphere is like, in the Java edition, every seed has a similar feel. Same with Bedrock, like, there's similar feels, obviously they're different in some ways, but you can find the same stuff eventually, and you start to realize just how limited the generation really is. At least that's my take. So Cat, please say your opinion on Article 13. I mean, no one likes Article 13. No one's going to be like, oh, I love Article 13. I really love when your country bends over to, you know, what's it called? Trademark lobbyists. Oh, that's my favorite thing. No one has that opinion. Like, it goes without saying that I'm not pro Article 13. It's just like, it's not a good thing. It's not good for anyone, in my opinion. What do the new crafters / smelters do? I really think the new smelters are gonna be a way to only cook food and only cook, like stones, etc. I hope that the regular furnace can still cook stone stuff. It's just the smoker's the only way to cook food, maybe. I'm not sure how they'll do it, but yeah, they said they wanted to have a faster furnace in Minecraft before, so maybe this is just that. We'll have to wait and see. So, we have to get up here. Explain Article 13 to me. The EU wants to make so right now, every website, the duty is on the defendant, the copyright holder, to inform the website that they're hosting copyrighted content. Then the website has to remove it within a really strict time frame. So basically, if you want to defend your content, you have to defend it. It doesn't get defended for you. The EU is going to switch it to the burden being on the website. even if millions of hours of content are being uploaded every hour on your... millions of hours of content being uploaded every day on your website, it's still going to be YouTube's, like, problem to sort through that, you know? We need to go this way, I guess. But, yeah, so basically, you know, like, and YouTube says that's impractical, that's absurdly expensive, we can't take that risk. We're just going to have to block things in that case. So instead of every copyright holder having to actually defend their content, instead, every time you upload anything, or anytime any site uploads anything, they have to check, is there any way any copyright holder can be offended? If they could, they can sue me just for this being up. Which, is, you know, it sounds logical on the surface of, like, you shouldn't have to defend copyright, it should be defended for you. But it's just saying, instead of you defending your copyright, now every website has to employ hundreds of people to defend it for you. And it's like, no, you should, if you care about something, you should have legal protection, but you shouldn't have legal enforcement. You shouldn't have legal protection provided by your enemies, you know? That's not how that works, in my opinion. Anyway, Article 13 stuff. Also, if we make Article 13 a meme, it can't be banned. That's some high quality fun jokes right there. No, I've heard that one before. It's fun. But yeah, no one likes Article 13. It's like saying, hey Toycat, can we talk about cancer? Are you pro-cancer or anti-cancer? Like, on the one hand, you know, I was raised in a very pro-cancer household, but I'm actually going to come out with a controversial opinion. I don't like it. I don't like cancer. I don't like it in the slightest. I would rather kids were not dying off it. You know, I'm going to... I know there's lots of lobbyists that are pro-cancer out there, but I'm not a fan, as it turns out. And so that's not really an opinion. Also, I really want Riptide free. Maybe I should just combine 2 Riptide enchantments together. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do, actually. So we'll take channeling out. We'll take this Riptide 2. And another Riptide 2. You know, I really can't even see... Oh, wait, the Riptide 2 isn't here. Let's just spend the enchantment money and just get these put together. Oh, it's not in here either. Where'd I put the Riptide? I have a Riptide Trident somewhere in my Minecraft world that is also Riptide 2. I just don't even know anymore. I just don't even know. I thought I knew what was up, and it turns out I was wrong. Okay, so is there an enchanted trident I haven't checked here? Channeling, impaling. No, I have to go find that. It's probably in one of the shulker boxes. Is it in here? Oh, there it is. It was staring me. It was in the... How did I miss that? What is wrong with my eyes? I've been streaming too long. So we're going to combine these 2 things together now. Hey, look at that. Riptide 3. So I've never actually had Riptide 3 in survival, because I got Riptide 2 and just figured good enough, right? And it's basically correct. But let's just go ahead. This is how much Nether Quartz we got today, by the way. So much. I want to play around Riptide 3 real quick. Let's do this. The best nuts at donuts. Hey! That's a happy message. I can get down with the best nuts being donuts. So yeah, I've died to Riptide so many times that I just kind of threw it away in a chest and said, let's stop doing this. This is actually quite cool. So I'm going to try and jump out of the water and then float to the surface, do the same again. You get much better results in there. Because I want to destroy this block. This block exists because I think I used to have a bonus chest I wanted to spawn. It's just a bit of a blight on the world right now. This one too. Actually, I'll leave this here. I'll put it a bit further away though. So let's just put that right over there. And now you can jump over it. Oh, is this bonus chest still a bonus chest though? It looks like it might have freshly generated. I'm not even sure at this point. Look at all these torches that have generated around the bonus chests. You can see all the different spawn locations it's had. Anyway, weird facts with Toycat. There's also a bonus chest down here still. This is the original one. Has some blaze powder. Not even sure. Did you try Taco Bell in London yet? Says Kit Kats. There's a Wingstop and a Taco Bell, and we were gonna go this Friday because I think it opens last Friday, this Friday. The only reason we haven't gone is because I've got 2 friends having birthdays. One's today, one's on Saturday. Actually, one friend's birthday. Okay, real quick, good social tip with Toycat. I'm gonna check when his birthday was. So he said, we're doing something on Saturday, and then we're getting drinks. So Tom's birthday is 2 days before mine. It's Tom's. Okay, it's not his birthday. I don't need to say Tom happy birthday. He probably didn't say it to me. Sorted. Checkmate, chat. Checkmate. But no, there's a Wingstop and there's a Taco Bell. We live in exciting times over in the British capital. Okay, so let's get out of here. Do you like Taco Bell? I mean, I like Taco Bell as much as anyone likes Taco Bell. And that, like, you go there and you have a pretty okay experience. But in the UK, I'm sure they can't do this in the US because of licensing laws. It's $2. I guess it wouldn't be $2 in the UK. Man, I'm fatigued or something. But it is, it's £2. No, it's £1 extra to upgrade your drink to an alcoholic slush. Alcoholic slushes for £1. Like, imagine at McDonald's, they're like, oh yeah, so you can have a Coke, or for 99p more, you can upgrade to this, I don't know, rum and vodka. I don't even like whiskey and orange juice. I don't even know. Like, you'd be like, but that's what Taco Bell does in the UK. It's amazing. So yeah, in case you're curious, by the way, we're going for another 10 minutes. As soon as I decided we were clock baiting, I figured, double makes sense. So we're going for double the allotted time, which would be 170 minutes. Should we do maths with Toycat here? The thing is, maths isn't a fun subject to talk about. Isn't that weird that, like, at least in my opinion, like, I think you can talk about any historical event and be like, wow, that's kind of odd. Like, did you know the deadliest plane crash in history will probably stay the deadliest plane crash in history? Like, oh, two of the biggest planes of all time crashed in a really inconvenient, like, in a really rare thing that only happened because proper communication wasn't followed, and both planes happened to be full because, they were busy during a thing, and, one of the operators was just trying to hurry. Like, there are so many, like, things that led to the biggest plane crash, the Tenerife disaster, and it's like, you'll never have one that big again. Oh, that's kind of cool. In fact, I think any tragedy has a layer of interestingness to it, right? But if you talk about numbers, it's like, hey, did you know that, like, 7 times 8 is, like, 56, man? And, like, get this, 8 times 8 is a bigger number than that. We should totally talk about 2 times to the cubed plus 8 to the cubed plus 5 minus 3 and its implications on Crimea. Hey, there we go. Gotta get the Crimea going on. Everyone loves a good Crimea chat. Or, as I like to say, Crimea River, am I right? Yeah, I content Toycat stuff. Does it really say Toycat started streaming 3 hours ago? That's concerning. One thing we do have to praise, though, is, a lot of people have rolled in and out, moderates, etc. But KitKats has been here the whole time. For all of this clock bait, did not leave, despite the very clear leaving off this, whatever the scheduled time is meant to be. So, let's just all have a quick mini applause there. Appreciate that. And everyone else has been here the whole time, I should clarify. We got the Davin cat right there. You spelled quartz wrong. Did I actually? Oh, you scared me there. You spelled wrong, which is my favourite thing, by the way, snipping. You spelt the word wrong. I wish I would tell you how wrong you are, but I mean, I think your wrongness is as wrong as it can be. But no, everyone who shows up to these streams, I appreciate you. It's been a while since I did a stream like this, but I'm glad it's still fun to do, like, podcasts, talk the stuff, shoot the stuff, whatever else. It's kind of fun in my opinion. I've still got the tab for Battle of Bannockburn open from earlier. Hey, Jura with his clapping emojis next to the cat. Oh no, the cat's just the one next to your name. I'll pretend to do the cat anyway. So, since I've got 10 minutes left, my favorite thing to talk about. Okay, let me admit something. Either no one admits or I'm a terrible person for. One of those two things is true. I like to talk about myself sometimes. I am my own favorite subject. So let me talk a little bit about my day today. Because I woke up and I just immediately was like, what I have to do is I have to get round to preparing for this huge thing I want to do. It kind of ties into what I want to do today. And then I started also, like, doing a lot of preparation for it. I've been putting off this video for a really long time on the 2Cat channel. I was like, gotta do the prep for that. And then I was like, oh, and there's a new beta out. I need to cover that with a snapshot. And I spent like 5 hours today just working on the snapshot and, like, listening to podcasts. And I think it's actually, Here's a funny thing. Like, when you do work, and then you figure, oh, I'll be clever, I'll throw in a podcast on the back, that feels really good. But when you do work that you know only takes up half your brain, it's legitimately kind of boring. Also, I'm too boring to talk about myself, says Luffy guy. I guarantee you're interesting. You're just bad at talking about yourself. That's my official theory on this one. Because, I mean, everyone has something interesting about themselves. It's just, do you know how to say it? It's like, you know how comedians sound so funny? They're just people that know the most interesting parts of any given social situation. Like, so I went to the store today, and the woman said, you know, do you want a receipt? And I said, no. You know, that's not a story, is it? That's just me. That's the most mundane part of my day. But whenever, like, cash people, like, ask, do I want a receipt? I just kind of refuse to accept it. So actually, no. Wait, let me go back on that one. So a lot of the time, it used to be the standard thing. You got the receipt whether you asked for it or not. There was no question. They give the receipt. Nowadays, both your hands are full. Oh no, I can't take this piece of paper. I have to keep on me all day, or litter, or it's got my card details on there, so I can't even throw it away, or the last 4 digits. So you know what I do? I immediately, as soon as the payment's gone through, I grab my stuff, put a little bit in both hands. Oh no, my hands are too full to pick up the receipt. What a shame. Oh, you know, maybe next time. And then we do that, like, polite pleasantry. And, like, at my local store, it's gone too bad. It starts as, like, you know, thank you, goodbye. And then, you know, maybe you follow up your own goodbye. Now it's like, thank you. And I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. You look like, you know, I make a comment about their outfit. They make a comment about what I'm buying, maybe. And then we say goodbye, and then I say goodbye back now. Once you say goodbye back once, it's been established you're meant to say goodbye back. And if you don't, you're being rude. It's a whole crisis. Also, make a 32,000 TNT video on Xbox. I think you can actually just make an entire Xbox world filled with TNT. I think that's a thing you can just easily do if you want to. Oh, so before we end the stream, should we try and enchant one more trident? Or do we even need to? Is there any need for anything anymore? That's a pretty philosophical question right there. Ooh, maybe we should enchant one more pickaxe. Yeah, we'll do one more pickaxe, sure. So, more than 85 minutes. No, this is exactly 85 minutes. I have no idea what you're talking about. But, yeah, so to kind of go back to our thing, I would say that everyone's interesting. You just gotta know what's interesting about you. Probably. I mean, I don't actually think I'm very interesting. I just think that I like talking about myself. You know, like, it's the uninteresting stories I want to tell way more than the interesting ones. It's like, oh yes, I went to Switzerland for 3 days without, you know, any clothes or whatever. But let me tell you about what I had for lunch today. Because I had, like, a chicken Caesar salad with Parmesan, if you're American, or Parmesan, if Parmesan? Yeah, Parmesan. Sounds weird, but you know, that was a pretty wild experience. You know, I don't know, like, it's the boring stuff that I want to tell people more than the other stuff. I think that's, like, probably a function of being a YouTuber and, like, being on all the time. There's always, like, a pressure that, like, hey, the moment we start talking about Minecraft again, the viewers started dipping, by the way. Like, history and the Titanic, that was generally getting people to watch the stream. And then you stop talking about it, it's like, ah. He's talking about, like, regular things again. Sigh. Which is pretty wild, if you ask me. If you, that's my opinion. But, yeah, the point is being that, like, the things that you want to talk about, that the world doesn't want you to talk about, at least as a YouTuber, it's like, oh, you want to do this. So many YouTubers get obsessed with this to the point that, like, you know, I'm only going to upload things that you don't want to watch on my channel. Like, so many YouTubers get, like, scared of, not scared, but, like, they want the opposite of success. Have you ever, you know how some YouTubers are like, hey, you know how I used to be a Minecraft channel? Now I upload GTA videos, you know, like, years after it was uploaded. Like, you know, they'll just pick something. They're like, I want to be that type of YouTuber. I want to be a beauty YouTuber, a vlogger, whatever they want to be. You see this all the time, and it's something about that. Like, the internet basically tells you what it wants from you very bluntly, and not everyone likes what the internet wants from them. It's like, okay, so in my opinion, this is the worst comparison. So if you're ever speaking, okay, you know, pro tip for anyone out there, if you're ever speaking to a pretty woman or a pretty man, don't compliment their looks usually. You know, they know they're pretty. They went. It takes a lot of effort, especially as a girl. You know, like, and you know, like they know it's all good. If something's obvious, oh god, leaving a comment about it usually isn't that useful to them. It's like they know they're very much aware that they're attractive or whatever. So in the same way, the best compliment you give is like, wow, you are just smart, or you are just you're interesting to talk to. Whatever it is, like, try and give compliments that haven't been given before, or at least that they might be nervous. But like everyone has something they want to be complimented about and something they are complimented about. That's my take on things, at least. And yeah, in the same way, I think YouTubers get like a micro version of that, where it's like people want to hear about some things from me and not other things. There was a while there. It was the weirdest phase, I think, of people not liking that I was playing. I don't know what version of Minecraft I was playing, but it was like if I played even the Java version, it was like, hey, we subscribe for console. This isn't console, or something along those lines. It's like, wow, this is next level confusion. There's a lot of wither skeletons that have spawned, so given I want to fight the wither again sometime, that's useful to know. Oh, we have 30 seconds left in the live stream, so thank you very much for watching today's live stream. You can like it if you did like it. Your neck is beautiful. Being told you're good looking is nice to hear. Feels bad, man. You look very nice right now, Kit Kats. You're looking pretty beautiful this evening. In fact, all of you watching this, you're looking pretty beautiful. I'm really liking. I can see through your webcam right now. Put some tape over it, like I know I've got to go. So thank you very much for watching today's live stream. Like it if you liked it. Share it if you like. Just do the things that you like if you really like these things. I really like these live streams. If you want to see more of them, every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm gonna be walking a million blocks in Minecraft. Probably next weekend, as in like 9 days from now, whatever. I'm super hyped for it, and I don't know, subscribe with notifications. Or if you don't like being told to hit the bell, I get that. Every YouTuber tells you. So instead, what you can do is you can go to Twitter and you can follow there with notifications turned on. Again, whatever you want to do, I would recommend that you come check it out, because a lot of people get sad that they miss streams, and I want to avoid you being sad if you miss something. Because if you miss something, it's bad for you and it's bad for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all like a few days from now. My head hurts a little bit, so I'm gonna go put it on a desk. Oh, I'm gonna put my new chair, which you'll see on Monday's Cooking with Toy Cat stream. There you go. Plug, plug, plug. Goodbye.